All right. Watch Ben Live. We are live. As you know, if you are new to this platform, it's the U Turn Talk Show. So, welcome again. This is a platform where we empower our communities through the power of storytelling, constructive dialogue, and guided action to change mindset and promote social change, economic empowerment for youth and women specifically, and for all. And focusing really on entrepreneurship and innovation for young people. That is our area of focus. And with that, today we are really narrowing down to the topic of entrepreneurship. I think this is the second time Jen Walk Jam entrepreneurship on the U-Turn talk show. And we will keep on coming because all change, why social entrepreneurs, why U-Turn people. We want to change society through entrepreneurship, and it's about changing mind, changing ideas. So one of you in the room, our guest who was here last time, talking about personal development and what it takes to really navigate career with purpose in mind. But today, Chioli is really excited to come because entrepreneurship is when put into perspective. Usually on the around this, usually on Saturday at this time, we're in a room full of people. But as you know, this is a Christmas season. People are with their families. They're having a good time. So you might see one or two people may join. But if you don't see our house full of all the U-turn contributors today, as usual, it's just a festive season. But as entrepreneurs, we are always awake and alive, and Jordan is excited to be really on this today. So welcome, Childa, and what a pleasure to have this second conversation with you. Maybe Barat Belwe Nongkoke Kininye Pingwar, and now come and put entrepreneurship on perspective into perspective. Like, what is entrepreneurship from your point of view, and why is it even important thing to discuss on the U10 talk show all the time? Take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Akol, once again. Back to Utan Studio. I think we had a conversation last week about personal growth and development and self-discovery. And thank once again, you bela do think maybe we 2 to 3 things. I want to be work one in other people as well, especially something to do with entrepreneurships. Hey, and once again, and Church Holding, and Taki, like I said last week, and the Dajal by Kalan, can think to and get a town thing again. So, I'm someone also who really obsessed with the personal growth and development. I want to see people changing, and at the same time, I have also chin if na I have to share it also with others because one of my philosophies appear. Uh, when I'm smiling and other people are not smiling, I meet pure. But when there's something low, I can think, I will also, my smiles, other people's smiles as well, can think. So, okay, I am always, but maybe by my experience, especially with entrepreneurships, but she work and then because I went through some of the journey period in terms of entrepreneurship, kujala koka period as well, but the experience kaya koi kok da chalu ilan kenti. In most cases, I chung the theories e kalana to kule cha che kaya che practical kenti. But na nong kichila through it kaya you why don't also share with other people kenti. Now, entrepreneurship about golule kenti. I'm not going to. One of the biggest problems with entrepreneurship is misconception about it, kenti, and about golf from myself. I don't know koi kok abajalu resonate or abajalu relate can end painting, but the reality is and anong so much anong so huge misconception about the entrepreneurship yung painting kuka ke ka ba ke explain yeah define ke for the first place painting ku chajal bela understand really entrepreneurship yung because anong kira loy beke dabura war akon nature of conversation but akon war nong ran painting or your perception or perspective about it because most cases nangen ku tiye information we flow in our society kanga krij ben anyi bata yuko kuye bino ku yongo reason kenting kuile bakada ala batom lo mabaj ku lor woni but at a certain point will apply le pidu chika chila coin because in chin the inside about it kenting but if you sit down ku bare new ku bare also the fact score then kala realize there's so much misconception there's something I always said when ban kolon in Turkey I know one thing Chabert realized with me. I was really married, but I didn't know I was really married because But the real, I'm not talking about literal marriage. Of course, I live around, I live with. How could you be married to canteen? I'm not talking about physical marriage.
I
I'm a
always
bit,
say that.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm a bit philosophical about it. And kia korwa lwelga. I was married to my status quo canteen, and the status quo means everything about my life, the way of life, my thinking, my approach to peer, whatever thing ich learn about canteen. I had no question about it. I thought everything in ye, any support back and canteen. And when it can whatever thing you learn, there's a stage you dare to realize not again, whatever thing you're in love with, canteen, if you do. A core question, you facts, you reality, toya, canteen. And then that's whereby you're relearning and unlearning and relearning your loyalty, canteen. Because achin ke chol growth barawar ki ken many relearning ken loy or I mean ken unlearning loy ko very learning loy kenti. And so some point I realize a lot of kajwi philosophies ya ga user period were not adding value to my life kenti. When get here pe jam and then where is the right one kenti. And this includes misconception and entrepreneurship kenti. Let me begin this way before can I entrepreneurship identify why entrepreneurship in reality before can I define. Now, anong tung chap kada already explain wherever I go. If you look at the other painting, can in terms of power, can chip in power pinum back then, let's say 19th, 17th, 18th century, world quite powerful, or let's say quite when ka lui pinum dominate or lui control. It used to be in terms of maybe industrialization, quite when they were really productive, selling things to the other countries, and then the same thing also in terms of military power, but in a 21st century, shifting eroloi kenti. And angin to chip in bentin when ran win powerful ran that longer just produce or ran when that is powerful militarily about the economic power kenti. And then this economic power in get determined in almost every country. And I can just call it from our country. The first question you could see, South Sudan independence achieve politically. But the biggest question you could think, how about economically? Are we independent? Uh,
thank you.
but the reality is, Kulawi, political power does not mean economic power. Watching country are fully independent, getting economic power, and that's the key. And getting point entrepreneurship because if we talk about economic power, let's also look back. What are the strong pillars of economic power back then? Kujalaman, shifting a role on there. Currently, in terms of production, are you massively producing that particular country, whether it's services or a product? The second one, investment in technology. You see most of the reverse technology in most of the countries. If you look at industrial revolution, AI, man, and the main reason always technology efficiency actually, because you have to keep on improving those products and improvements are local. Then the last one where they were jumping a human capital. And there's no way that you are going to talk about technology and production without including human capital. And human capital, that's where it comes into conversation, Kendi. And so here's the way problem is. There's no way that massive production with technology catching run behind it. There must be drivers. And these drivers to behind technology when the technology jalo and then jalaka production accord certain brains, accord certain individual. When get a national investment in human capital, you can catch it. And that's why you see most of the countries where we're on economic deficit nowadays is that I can invest in human capital, because man, lawyer all about manually because it's your mental muscles are core also. Okay, no can you later with the brain, especially technology. You could see a lot of innovation, invention, and the rest. Now, question is but if na human capital is very important, kadi human capital nge ten wajala bentin okay, but inga kake ke jala inga. That's where entrepreneurship come into conversation, and that's why everyone should embrace entrepreneurship because the strong pillars economy from any country. You have seen Pandaman, koja nechoke ku na lo reason langin ka ba productive in all the spaces. Why young? Because we work quite a thing go government go citizen as well achin kijal ku cholo can think be that situation very secure can think so abajal golule if you entrepreneurship appear the nong then what are the misconception about it and about goal I used to think entrepreneurship yeah trading can think And I used to think entrepreneurship is tenderships. And I used to think entrepreneurship is hustling. But the reality is entrepreneurship actually none of those. And I'm quite we loyal development, but they call themselves entrepreneurs. And in most cases, let me break it down. How do you call it? Good one is your trading. Trading, a lot of I think by almost which is 80 to 70% population are trading. When I think to an entrepreneur, but trading, trading is basically just by kang bakala white panda. Kubaka bagaj, let's say import and export, or maybe importing goods, kubaka bagaj. The taki manera lawyer, most of the people are less bagaj because no quality taki kuleke gaj by, and the reality is there's nothing wrong with the trading except TOI defined thing because Nachi you define rightly, and then nature conversation a cock when suppose work on entrepreneurship and
So
so
Nairana Kumba to look at your entrepreneur.
actually entrepreneurship you are just basically doing trading. But another angle better and also because the problem with trading is that once you're not controlling the value chain, because again entrepreneurship the income supply thing a good bakaler kada a good bakaler right emma could be around the control and then it's again part of the problem. That's not that you are going to control prices get trading because a level of no middleman somewhere but I could produce it can which mean once value chain actually control value proposition actually control also who can na jam ko entrepreneur ko business model you can use a from production to the commercial model. But most of the traders I don't commercial model they know you ga ju de bottle bagage go get why bagage go get it. I token the second thing a trade a tendership na pin ko jamala kulwel na chi connected wa kuma or chirandun ta kuma ke business is actually work a language tenders can think because kira allow with the tenders tenders basically the business model entire business model built around KHL getting contracts either for NGO or government. Of course most of entrepreneurs are not that model, but the question is how is it that your entire business model built on just getting contract from the government, which means if you don't get those contracts definitely inchi business do chila twen achangen man most construction industries kenti because in around core within the government ba lui collaborate with kulo ai ku yini contract kenti the same thing to NGO as well chane much more ni let me say so okay chol in a corrupt way kenti achen achen
Corruption, connection. Uh-huh.
so ache ke ranja ni pin kujel business model design in relation to the pyramid because nangira lo if we are not selling to the entire pyramid if nothing te ko changai tin ke ya based on pyramid anong quite on ya anong quite on the middle kada in the middle ko anong the bottom one kenti whereby the jala lower class kenti but in most cases I will focus reality they don't care what the population know because I think I can okay but they're just dealing with getting deals from the government kenti.
The dealers are not entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Exactly.
Continue.
So the reality is there's nothing wrong to learn except when we call it well, I'm doing entrepreneurship, Kenti. But how are you going to survive Pachirani that is going to connect with it, Kenti? Another the last one hustlers. And also yeah, at a certain point, hustling Iran ben yellow Kenti. But hustling a entrepreneurship because I'm not hustling. Eh, 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 I hustle that's hustlers I need to survive at the moment because kita can hustling even every peer, every are paying bills, every teacher needs ke because satisfy at the moment because ke immediate fulfillment kan ting because I hustle jam kulu chan ke hustling yellow in chin kang at the moment but in got peer kan ting so you do everything possible chan value survive at the moment kan ting so in most cases in every mind of hustler it's not about long term it's about the man kan ting who can that spirit is kali you can because most of the entrepreneurs kai galo can be long term so anyone le be hasala there's nothing wrong because at a certain point na ji area then kai put to the point whereby you want to survive ekalo ran ban pin but except when we mistake it to be an entrepreneur and I hasala king chola king chora as well kulo under entrepreneurship so ekake age kar ba kon misconception ba kon lo that those things are not purely in entrepreneurship but question is yellow thing. But what is entrepreneurship? If not, cheka ke chicken entrepreneurship. Uh, entrepreneurship can do. Now, kita ne chane white thing. Anong key entrepreneurs separate from others, and one of it ke all seeing opportunities can do. And in most cases, we lonye traders hustlers kujala tenders yake opportunities ngen in the same way entrepreneurs yake opportunities ngeting an example of agam there's a certain time that non conversation appear kenting nong randa and in most cases na tigra anuman kulel but how do you see opportunities once of it you'll find someone telling you kulel by doing what others are doing so kira loy most cases ba kon ngen yung loy in the market na ngen randa ke chulu succeed kenting or anong bottle ken yiga to jangen bottle ken yiga ja yugo then you feel you could go balaloy and it can actually bandwagon effect in business. There's something wrong with bandwagon effect because bandwagon
because I did in our community and thank you choda koi kujaya Ruben Panchol. Koi you jam to chat so thank you kurbara identify you as a trader, a tender or entrepreneur or a bandwagon person. Just good bandwagon in Lola because I tell koi la rom TikTok recently. Lola
mm,
no koi business model around you quarantine let's go wrong later and then let's go na
exactly,
business area lotwe
exactly, exactly. Because anong ke bandwagon effect here by in monjang I think ale bulo ke band bro. I don't know whether to it bagada to me kulotin and think ke date. I don't know whether the right language, but I may
bani
say like
bolo
that.
aye
Kendi because anong kito one of the ways ang ngon ko yurana man ale you buy ko you man wala no tona wala da ye business inde chili Mumbai kenti and so birana be kwanin gulel money transfer in we were charging in we were raya why e be in we were and all those kind of stuff and then chan chiran de lo kanang you and then you just go into it and the bandwagon effect because you just follow the crowd achievement cha understand ke it but because alloy crowd so you get into it and in most cases in the language every trader ujala tenders or maybe hustlers you can use is about yang alloy sama wara lo je coin ba kon ngin koran ti chalum risk na cha jang ngin kanang iwo and then ka jabel well okay and we jal belatin kendi and so one of the most ways nothing within the society ku tiran gama how do you see opportunities and get niran ben get opportunities ye kan ngin kanang ta within entrepreneurship kanang you are drawn into it with a very simple question that what problems are you solving because kita with entrepreneurship is all about problem solving kendi okay ko ju nyana man is that iran there we ran the problem abe consult kwan bija belatin acha lo ne kulwe there's nothing wrong by a trader or by a hustler or but tendership balo but except bani na de yen whatever rewards bala yole e intentional about it kendi and the reality is ke loiben ya as a result ke chin rata out bana lo ko ban entrepreneur kenting there's a thing score there's the requirement anong ka kor ba ka conmit ko ba ja truly an entrepreneur kenting and so the first thing with every entrepreneurship we you every entrepreneur pinum the first question is but what problems are you solving kenting because the question ku kene ne ku chi ku kene kon jo ka chin chi on the other side ba ja ba lu converse ya entrepreneurship yung kenting and so about Congola before can allow into some of the simplest way of seeing opportunity and anong kira level with entrepreneurship anong chain of series right anong sub capital core kenti and most cases are like quite well majority of South Sudanese could teach to go man ban kalwale kitchen and business ya loy because anchin work kenti and kwa le ko ju the moment ba language ping rang ran a trader don't even try to talk a an entrepreneur because anong to a entrepreneurs do complain about financial capital chan the greatest capital is financial capital and in most cases in our society aira you chicken out again you use money to make money kenti and in most cases language right now you trader kalu can trading is driven by volumes kenti which mean nana gichi 50,000 USD ku tawtin ku la ro kala ba bi kwala bi ko jo which mean na lo ran de benele ku 10 millions to it kala ba out compete in the market kenti and that why lo ke kro kon kor is financial capital yen the only capital entrepreneurship no, ache the greatest capital. And so abagajal kon kwen pin kubalatin one by one. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, before can work at a before can then requirement how we could have when you want to be a problem solver, can think chicken because when you are to solve the problem, ela do a brain right, ela do a kitchen within the society can think. But there are some of the ways whereby you have opportunity, because this problem solving, because one of the things, especially again in academics, most of the people are problem solve the way they actually feel, because now the problem solve the way to cheat really world problem. Because take an example, bagade watchman kujala la real customer kula lekene watch up. But the problem is a reason we in fix any reason le bene watch dundi, because in most cases every problem ben achieve ben from in a ben from randa on a certain population can think. But let's say this way, what are the capitals needed in entrepreneurship? One of the greatest capital were created by intellectual capital can think. The second one, the market capital. The third one is social capital. We have fourth one, which is a financial capital. Yeah, you really do think. But let's take an example. In a financial capital, which intellectual capital, into social capital, into market capital. Then how are you going to get into entrepreneurship? Because that's where the problem is. Most cases, everyone. A good run, I chicken out in entrepreneurship. But I'll be very honest. Entrepreneurship, I chicken. And kero you chika coach in an unpopular concept in our society. We don't converse about it, especially look at the education system. Kenting. In most cases, era you chika na jam about entrepreneurship in bala kumbathol or bala lui kok ti kok lui kok or biaran or some other thing kok jike kenting. But ke jala mikila ke. There should be something by doing to entrepreneurship. Pajak explain me ye entrepreneurship event to conversation. One of the theory before can learn to detail, but those capital like I explain. Entrepreneur, you don't have to study any course by entrepreneur. It's one of the big misconceptions. And so you find a lot of people and when entrepreneurship to college or when business administration, you watch by entrepreneur. I'm a true I'm a true testimony. I went to a business school thinking that by an entrepreneur. But let me be honest. Entrepreneurship, I can link by studying entrepreneurship and business administration. Because I don't get a lot. Entrepreneurship is the way you think, actually a way you define. And I action entrepreneur. That's what bring an entrepreneurship. Because I can't go from tech. Do you have that spirit of entrepreneurship? You action entrepreneur. Kujal ko kajal ka bela bill around it. But the problem is, yes, I think right. Rana in kada la kwen entrepreneur la kwen to kulit. But the biggest issue is na cha jala kwenel will it translate it kenting be learning together be learning to entrepreneurship kenting. And so alaba gorwule now uh, intellectual capital yengo kenting, because chite channel weltin that before thinking doing any entrepreneurship na intellectual capital catching the learning thing, and you there's no need of talking about money kenting. And so intellectual capital in when we were talking about personal growth and development, which is general from the foundation about yininga at the first place. Because when we talk about problem solving, eladu how you think, kuti yitinka. But in most cases, problems are chigeti. Most of the people manala Google or la YouTube. Well, what are the opportunities in South Sudan? No, because at the end of the day, but krijiban akor ba contact it, akor ba solution ba provide ya, akor na la solve pele kanyit achangin all inside or all round kenting. And there's something you're going to see chiran that chile bengen kenting. And so anong kira loy with entrepreneurship, one of the problems chira de lew why people check in on intellectual capital or check everything like entrepreneur ela do ke design thinking, there's something called design thinking kenting. And in most cases ke design thinking yelli to kulit. I don't know, but maybe nong tiye PhD. But with design thinking, tang ye nge tak is especially starting from an idea brain. Lantoy ninum, abalar by idea, abalar to prototype, abalar to testing, kada in the market can. But at the end of the day, it's not the steps. It is about, do you think that way? Yita getang can. Because in most cases, a problem is can solve can. But ela do to that particular point rana will need your strength and your weaknesses, because in most cases rana little problem actually be solved given go quirot or go what capability will be used can be. There's something as well uh ela do also chicken natural purpose, because keto before can run jam kulwel and be can have solve the biggest issue ever your purpose kujala problem lo sa integrate, because ka ka But in most cases, career ran a little, yeah, thinking about doing business, but I can his personal philosophy, which is his purpose, I can come out together. Because I don't care entrepreneur keeping the game. Janache Janiko. If you have to get into it, can think, and then I can realize now that along a lot of challenges. Most of the people I will give up. Jananong katam na atem kadam an which you working la banbe. Then you say business will fail. Can think. The reality is that in business will fail. Rango, nacha will fail because na I inside about something channel language you use it and business you no in go no problem. And so kira kon ko the greatest investment they call it do intellect lot in life yung direction yung vision why you getting into it. Because anong two type of entrepreneurs, by the way. One anong unintentional entrepreneurs, really real entrepreneurs. One anong intentional one can think. Most of the intentional entrepreneurs are people all around to go to kuli jene kala kuro can think. And successful in the balo you. But at the end of the day, in the bala ramu do your boss, chimang yang kachilo, or maybe you quite pay candy. It can only be real pure, which I like a business, but boss of your own candy. These are unintentional entrepreneur. A little bit succeed, but I can intend it candy. But most of the intentional entrepreneurs are people you can put with a certain thing. There's a reason. And now purpose can be achieved in life. But again, the purpose are you have solved through certain problems. Candy. Kun ke kani ane lol ne kulwel. Every single question has to do with a single thing. A problem you deal with solve. And in most cases, if you have to solve a problem today, connect to another a problem, and most of the ways, simplest way of seeing opportunity, a complaint. I love if people complain a lot because they are already didn't get it get it a problem ki igla yin kanti ayin ka be jal ngen kulwel can I solve this one depends it time kanti chimna ne channel well thing because it has nothing to do with jakwen to kuli but it's about will you provide the solution it will complain because in most cases the quite we most of the entrepreneurs can solve ban from as a result of people complaining around kanti whether poverty whether in what sector can do depends what depends you could complain in it. But the second part, innovation, which is social aspect can do because entrepreneurship is a hero. There is ran lebekada loy ke as a result of complaint ke koji specifically because anong gato inche solution provide kitchen strong sustainable demand can do because create bana demands good demands ban from coach if na well coach well ke what you change the gig I mean create the gig a problem or maybe you were not I live in the market but you go away chicken be nonken then you sit down and then provide the solution but the other parts a social aspect because na jam ku about social entrepreneurship akachi all about non-profit organization such our social problem inclusively bend into also environmental problem because you realize that environmental thing anong kato because it's always about human. In most cases, you check a problem, but sometimes you can solve problem that is affecting human being and at the same time the environment. The same thing in cultural aspect. Look at our culture at the moment. You can come up with a certain problem you will not again. There's something wrong in our culture, and who can never fix can think. And our solution look provided like a part of the social entrepreneurship can think. And so in most cases, it's either way. Is either entrepreneur solving a problem can demands or a problem solved on a social aspect can think whether in cultural, whether cultural, environmentally, or maybe other aspect of the painting. But key jari how do we get this capital? And the intellectual capital, which is something to do with the brain painting, whether intellectual property, whether a vision just said, whether a philosophy, whether a purpose painting, depend on an idea. Second one, market capital painting. Now, the issue with the market capital, market capital is not just about to market no because nang kira lo you know in entrepreneurship it's not just about an idea right before can learn to market well, let me say this one the reality is things are just by ideas executing those ideas but anong kira lo create a congol with an idea in brain right kubajal bege but one of the challenges that you okay and I love Ben Nelman with great idea most of the people anong ideas talking but the biggest issue is how Bajal be tagged, how Bajal be integrated into entrepreneurship. So I can actually you that most of the people before can in law la baga jala law a court test throughout because anong ideas kok le baga polo loki kincha Can chata but apply can. And what, let's take an example in design thinking. Kwala ka cha understand la cha lari ko cha ba ko cha ke get problem. But anong ke cha how do you put it into full commercial package? Because na chi to in a commercial package. Chana nong kiro you in a problem ko ba solve in ko ba lo as well can. But all ka kai test, and all these tests kanong you will see the market, you will see also kachir ye bala hoinga kenting bagay with it kenting. And these models abaka highlight, there's a model that I came up here I use for testing kenting. When you have an idea ko korba jala be, take an example in japan now with the problem, but you way acha way society affects, but it might not be investable. Can kita with the entrepreneur, all it koi kogila you check every idea investable, but anong idea is investable. But accord testing, you have to first put it into test kenting. And one of it, I look well. One, problem identification. Can think a problem do solve a pain point, because in most cases in the problem, I solve a problem you will achieve priority. No, quite outside. Can think when can well, if not a problem, solve problem will create and provide solution to it. Another example, I shall go. I will and I learn why a cool. Ki ka chi bar la la kon bin na wai na de bala kon bin za ko la wai apian na ta to ndu chi ka do to lo la ani already wai pian de to de. And so that's the same thing. Whenever you come with a problem, kwa you work create kula la non customer lo ku rate or bilwel ka cha kor, because anong language you user it na lo customer ko get too expensive. Achi too expensive. Kilo solve achi problem de is your own problem. And so in most cases, where are you bringing this problem? So problem identify one of the problems. Second, evaluation. Kenting. One of the biggest problem with the business you can build by, I take a build with a certain mindset that I'm going to control the whole value chain. The whole value chain I got from where you are supplying the raw materials. I go to be like Kenting. But tell me one of the companies to buy it that control the entire value chain. Kenting. No. Quite a man what go a middleman. Kilo but ila somewhere ko bago I kenting. But now law into entrepreneurship, and then you are creating a system. Kenting. I'll talk about it later, because system ecosystem or system change part of the fundamental kada in tackling entrepreneurship. When ka ki chirbali chen ba la ba, because mostly tang ye what that thing in the problem ay ba enti, because rande man anong kiro lo everyone net e gol small, right? And na gol business man I akwal ka gol ko core enti. But anong kiro lo e lwel kulo man gol in ka core, you are starting small, but are you thinking big? Because in most cases ke koi now every trader, every hustler, every tender, they start small, but their biggest problem, they remain small. Why, young? Because if you're starting small and you're thinking small, you'll never go anywhere. But that's a
Okay.
simple thing.
Hold that thought, shoulder. I watch no get to new cool Peter could who introduce ku Bajala Ben dumps of again to Bajabe Blari. So welcome,
Mm,
Kuru Peter, entrepreneurship student, all the way from Rwanda as well. I've been brought introduced to be the entrepreneurship defined, but from his own point or to could do date called Bajala to jam then but
mm,
so yin kurin ti gaw ku kere jam waktin ne what entrepreneurship is, and na we ko ke pej ben ti man ne bi kur ka chi jol de ga no na ka ti kon kar to we ji ko le na rem chi entrepreneurship that we think I mythical entrepreneurs attenders ko win kum ba tol ko kum ko you ten give ya quality white trend as we go and make some custom product you get a cause you ten bo you go on Amazon white trend that part of your entrepreneur you cut away no ja ko lo ko retending contracts no government ka chi entrepreneurs ku ja so le rem tin den jo mo nyu mo chilit ko ga ni tin na chi ngade ku jelo na kar entrepreneurship mindset broad developed. There are some areas when capital non capital core yeah we then deal with the traders or hustlers or tenders idea who you know, so that they go and make deal and buy things. But entrepreneurship cook or some capital and human capital brain. You need to have that mindset. You need a social capital, like you also need market capital. Of course, financial capital is important, but if not, capital ka wal ci la bu ga jam da se kala so I tend to bela deep and ga ji ko ki ga wel ta ka der ki ko kur welcome and le rat ko who didn't know that what do you think of entrepreneurship and why is it an important thing for young people before being able to do children?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joel, for Nokol for coming up with this topic. I think this is really the topic that we need. I think I'm jam tong jang ya. Again tong jang dia ko ba. Tong jang dia lo gare da jal ko. Um,
Yeah, just make it
and
magic and why well English and get tongue then you keep it.
okay, I think and first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Chal Kurpidatan. A third year student at Africa Leadership University, doing entrepreneurial leadership. And yeah, I think this is a quite impressive topic. I'm been introduced to whatever sector in some couple of years, and I've started a lot of things, and I've failed in a lot of things. All right,
So it's
and
not
that's
business to Louis Fail, it's you to Louis Fail.
yeah,
Thank you, children.
yeah. So I've failed in a lot of things because when the business fail, the first person who fail it is you, right? And I think that's the most important thing that we can take on that. If I have to define entrepreneurship on my own, in my own understanding, um, is for you to identify problems, the problem that we have seen in the community or in the society, and address it. What it means is like uh, addressing the unmet needs, right? Because I think another key children, I think, like for example, you say that non kawin like he batol you kawin ay kati kwan ngari, right? I think it's a process, right? It's a process of developing that kind of mindset. But one of the things that I've seen in entrepreneurship, why I think entrepreneurship is something different. Most of the people, like, if I can take example first, in Junub, and most young people, they think you just go and start the business, and kuna chadu kandu chaleo, kukaya bubuj, that's all, right? But entrepreneurship is kind of bigger than that, right? It is start something, let me say a business and grow, right? Start and grow. It is not start and just keep it that way. Start and grow. For example, I know a lot of uh, Warren Buffett. They have a lot of big businesses. Let me say that a lot of big stores. Uh, and it doesn't just they started with the small things, but they were having that mindset that I need to have a bigger picture. So entrepreneurship, or let me say entrepreneur, is someone who is having a bigger picture. So I can just start, for example, I will just start with this, right? That's my first product, right? And so maybe I will say, okay, I will have something bigger than this, right? And that's what I can say that is entrepreneurship. Starting with something small and having the mindset of growing it. And I think that's how I can relate it with what Cholding has said. Um, because you need to take a calculated risk. Because it's an entrepreneur, I can in the market and just start it like that and be successful. These people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk. Elon Musk has tried like the SpaceX. They have tried to launch it multiple times, but he has never given up, right? Because he knows what he wanted to do. And that's the mindset that we need because there is a value in something. So entrepreneurship, in my understanding, is that start something small and grow it. And gukurut ne yilwel in gada in a call. Yeah, you are doing some kind of entrepreneurship. I can kind of disagree smaller with Cholding. And I'll do can you bagol sijara, let me say sijara biscuit, and have a bigger picture. That's the starting point. That's the only thing that I have. All right. And then I just grow from there. Right. So I don't need like to have billions or millions so that I can start a business. Have a bigger picture. So Ankar Banang you can get here Juba. Right. So how can I start? I have 10,000 South Sudanese pound. That's the only thing I got. So now I have to define. You know, after 5 years, what do I need? Right. So and then you say that so I want to have 10 Dukan, and then we break it down until to the point when I'm currently to India or Tarabeda. ban kriya kan go allow. Right. So from there, you know the bigger picture. Every morning you are waking up, you have to question yourself: how can I improve? How can I be better than today? Right. Um, how can I be much better than tomorrow? All right. So you wake up in the morning, you are thinking of maybe branding your place. You are thinking of bringing a new product in your in Tarbedadu, and you're growing like that. I think that's the big thing that I think we have to take in place. But again, Kirme Cholwell that what we call design thinking. This is really one of the most important things because in Gujalu we lose in what we call design thinking process. You'll have to go back again. And I've experienced that, right? Because you have to empathize. You have to really understand which problem am I solving. Because if you don't know the problem, you can't provide the solution. And again, if you know, okay, I know this problem, but is it something that they really need to be addressed? That's really important because alo benwell okay akwalumana because then she does live streaming, so maybe she might need graphic design, maybe she might need someone who's to control the studio. No, I'm just assuming maybe that's not what you need, right? So at least of assumption, there are some assumptions that might not work, but in order for us to prove our assumptions that are right, we need to go on ground, like in the and do assessment. So and provide solution uh, provide solution to at least I mean not solution, get some kind of understanding from the users that we are trying to provide solution from to, right. So Kunachal, if you understand what they really need, what they are lacking, they could also help you contribute because when I teach and well, okay, especially the shops, these small shopkeepers, they are when I well, what is the problem? What are you guys really facing? So they will come and explain to me all this because I want to try to provide solution to those women, right? Maybe create some kind of uh, small market in Benke. So for me to really understand that, they will tell me maybe they need something in that small store, and that's really give me more understanding. So they will give me some kind of solutions, suggestion that I can take into consideration when I'm trying to design a solution for them, right? And again, I have to come and sit down, ideate, right? When I ideate, I have to come, okay, bring those ideas that they have come up with, and also mine, right? So when I then I have to do some kind of prototype, which is really, really important, right? So is this going to work, right? Put some kind of prototype up, something like a little low draw, right? Something just simple. And then you test it. Will it really work? Kuna kinlui, then you come back again. Where did you mess up? Right? And so you come and understand where I mess up. So when I understand again, you have to go back and redesign. And so I think when you follow that kind of process, I think it is really simple for us to navigate all these challenges. So, but when we have some kind of understanding in terms of how we can execute the idea that we have, the concept that we have, the vision that we have, I think they're really important. And that's where that kind of understanding, which we call intellectual property, let me say that, or like that's where people are investing, because an investor cannot come with their money and invest in the idea. Most of investors, they don't invest in the idea, they invest in the team. And which is the first thing, the team, and other people that are working with me, we are the team. So when they see that these people are really capable enough to really execute this solution, this is where they can really invest in that. So yeah, we have a lot of process on how we can understand that. Coming to the point, why is it really important for us, for young people to involve in entrepreneurship? I think whether you are uh, whether you are doing sciences or you are doing humanities, entrepreneurship is for all. All right, it's not for a specific people. In the context of South Sudan, we have a lot of things that we have to tap in. And let me say, in the context of Africa at large, we have a lot of bad resources. And and let me say, 60% of the population is below 25 of year, 25 years, right? 60% of 1.5 billion people on the African continent, right? They are below 25 years. So we have a really long, strong youth. Coming to the resources, when you come to South Sudan, there is a lot of bigger market in that place. So how can we really really tap in there? Most of us, when we are, most of the students, let me say in university, they only seek the knowledge for them to just graduate and then go and look for the job. All right. If they have their family business, they just go and run the family business, which is not bad. But again, sometimes you have to ask yourself, what do I want to really do? And there's this quote that I always use. All right. I forgot who said it, but is that there are two important days in your life: the day you were born, and the day you know why you were born. And that's the what we call purpose in life. So what is my purpose? All right. So what is my purpose in my community? What is my purpose in my family? And if I'm gone, what do I want people like to remember me for? Right? So when you have that, now you have to say that, okay, let me say I'm into education. I want to build schools. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who are investing in school in South Sudan. So I want to invest in schools. So how many schools do I need by when I leave? How many young people do I really want to educate? Right? How so I think you have to put some kind of thing like that, and that's will really help you because we are pursuing your vision or your purpose is I want to help people to learn, right? Like, I want to help our society by bringing education closer to them, affordable and quality. That's your purpose, right? So living through that, I think can really help you. When you sleep every morning, every evening, let me say, you'll have to write down what can I really do tomorrow. What did I do wrong today that I can really improve on tomorrow? What can I keep doing tomorrow better so that I can really further my purpose, so that I can really further the vision that I have. I think that's the most important thing. So, young people, I think we have to define our purpose, and when we have the purpose, we take advantage of what we call the learning, and entrepreneurship is a learning process. So that's the most important thing. So we have a lot of resources in South Sudan, but how can we really make good use of them? All right, is by tapping into these areas. So we all cannot be job seekers. So try to make yourself also some of the job creators in our society by starting a business that is addressing a need. And our community needs you all because without you, we cannot address all these challenges that are happening in the society. So the society is built by entrepreneurs, it's not built by politicians. So that's why I can say young people should involve in entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now, into what be an encouragement. You turn one only virtual studio, and maybe in next 2 3 years we'll have our office studio. And then in the other years we'll have many studios in different part of the world because we want to change mindset, we want to change people life, we have to expand and grow. So we are entrepreneurs. Wow, wow, wow. That is good. Thank you so much, Kurpita, for adding your perspective on entrepreneurship. And yes, chode do do a chaping no kur teacher entrepreneurship chene tiang tin and encourage young people. And so if you are watching this video and you find it helpful to you, please share it. I am thinking now that we have big entrepreneurs brain in this house or in this room in this virtual studio. Next thing we'll bring you workshop on HR design thinking. I think that these two have agreed and have supported them that design thinking is the beginning of entrepreneurial journey. So we'll organize something called design thinking workshop, and we'll stream it here on the U-turn so that we can start to create that space where people now can share ideas, brainstorm, test them, and build mindset. So take it away, children. You were about to go into deeper studies of or all the capitals like I mentioned. So thank you. Please share the video and let us know in the comment section where your mindset is at the moment. Are you a trader, tender, hustler, or an entrepreneur? That is the question.
And thanks to Kur once again. I think inside I get out and about dole. Karena yana separate talk and ada kayak kake separate ben an entrepreneurs with the rest it and the channel mindset. But there's something I like with entrepreneurship. Separate from the rest. Anong gitu, whenever you are doing anything, anong kita lel kolon kulel. One of the single most important thing entrepreneurs take black opinion kenting kujala I mean in the world, maybe let's say South Sudan, And then the other part of the world, which is white, a single thing is your philosophy. And the end philosophy defined in ela to the question, why are you starting this business? Because the reason for starting business, whatever thing you learn, I build on a foundation of philosophy. Kenti. Kwela do. Na gal kade ko lo kabla do to why yung gole. Kenti. And that why every trader, a business girl with a philosophy, I want to survive. And survive in thinking small by. And I got with the mindset that Kidian ko ba pirbat. And then kalarolo. Abagol chan abagam with the practical example. And there's a difference between starting small and thinking small. When a difference between to start small while you're thinking big, but another conversation is thinking big by thinking big dunia philosophy. Why are you getting into business? Good Westman, one of the single philosophy talking around that. And I want to change dynamic kind of opinion. I want to disrupt kind of thing. And most cases business can have to disrupt certain things. And a lot of law kuche chananang kai hero ke traders no ko ba explain kujala koi koke. Ilba business government but in the to the certain stage whereby wo waban can think. Taken around manala below into yego do ye bude. Na mi akol ka wo la duore. But philosophy do yengune en an ko ba pir ba yung cha de ni te pire cha de so yung ba loy imi ko bi ko ka ba loy ku dar wa yin ko bi ni ma na chi wo chi ban ka tik di ar bi ken ting because chin de loy wo philosophy de ne
Do it when you can do it. Nah, chứ nó gặp thì cái bên diar juj bagat ya ku jata ngrom ku jaka la no juju ku de ke pen ku ber ka ju aso lagi lot.
exactly ku be do thing chan ke problem ben ena de ke yen philosophy de ne chi define of it en an ko wa pir I want to survive but I no get away entrepreneur channel one that the most single thing it keeps away from the rest is designing a strong philosophy. Why are you starting the business? And if my business, take an example to change certain thing, which I will tell a benele, kinchi la koiten. Kay jalwele, whenever you build, most of the big businesses, I check a build, the chin jalgol. I can build in mind. There's a certain business is called build. But ki jaloike, ayila goal small, but there's where you're growing. Chicken actually, it's all growth business. In most cases, you're growing somewhere. Can't you? But I don't jata can every idea change investable. I don't obstacle jal by quite separate from the rest. Who can kabira and jal whether are you going to be a trader? Kabaya entrepreneur, can't you? I don't get all that. Not all ideas is scalable. Actually, ideas is scalable. One of the problem with the scalability. We are in a society whereby we mix expansion with scalability. When the most single thing na koidi because na gal business man ka chikon ba tiro e ka gal is scalable. Can because scalability can you whether are you going to build it for short term kaba building a long term. Ko yen wala maybe now what you're comping. Are you building a scalable sustainable business? Because if you are going to get into those things, then you are going to get right requirements, like entrepreneurship. And which means if you are not building a scalable, sustainable business, because if I'm building a business, it's not about me. I'm thinking about generation quite. Maybe I'm the first generation, but I'm thinking about second, third, and fourth generation. Which means I local can kula lo mi kula dik ka karba wen ko which means problem do solve say timeless problem. Because there are people who solve temporary problems or emergency problems. But at the end of the day, that demands I mean, no problem later, and then king kaj, right? But now a sustainable solution, or let's say sustainable business build. It is not just about us, the generation. It's also about even generation quicker. When you what is scalability use? Because scalability anang tung before can I learn to detail. Scalability is about system. Chanang na got business in a call, first you will be in business. But at a certain point, you are going to be on business. In business mean every business will build on you. So in value within the business. And doesn't get the simple test entrepreneurship. And I again can live in your business for 3 months. Could they get business locally? Can't most of the traders, most of the hustlers are kaya business. Which mean in value within the business. Nachi in catching business. Can't you? And that's why I was saying if you don't separate bakonyi yenga, kinchi question on is it scalable? Because scalability, there's a certain point whereby I'm going to get out of the business for one system. It's about building system. Now the system just build me. and then you go to one system because ka bilo use, and then it continues, and that mindset ka car because lumna de yen. How do we develop ecosystem and a system mindset change, which mean whatever kulatin chana anang chala pi individual wa. There's one thing bucket loike kekedu or bucket loike kerana and so when you are talking about system change, the system change mindset ke separate kana hasala den kanong kaloy so ekene akor we are down to conversation that not every idea in case scalable. Chananong most of the one of the unscalable idea babai. If your idea is only to affect in most cases you market size to determine the scalability or maybe borders. Let's take an example. Your idea only koi affect 10,000 people. Kanti. Kwanang kira loy, whenever you want to get into business, kakira kon lo yikoni ya wo get it as well because everyone akor wallet because na chiwu chikanyi wu to thin and then definitely kichilatin kanong kangke diakto. First, you have to see the total addressable market. In general, if naira anben yilwel bakala hoy kaku yegdo services ke gedati yongo wa yowo ke de ke yuke in general kenti. Second, yongo services addressable market, your market in the low target kenti. And then the last one, yeah, ko ke de low target. Kanong ki raja loy ke. If the market low target, achieve $1 trillion industry, achieve $1 billion industry, achieve $1 million industry, then don't invest into it. Achieve scalable kenti. And so which mean achieve entrepreneurship, but I check like invest kulera can achieve sustainable. I've been to survive, but a non limitation because market size do a core can't. But they can care on core man they can okay. Agalama then eating in their growth they are thinking big at in scalability. Now I'm going to start from South Sudan, but this one is a global solution. Can't. Which mean you are starting local, but in a global vision. Can't. So there's where you are going. And I tell to a certain point, make a jalwala antiban to a point, I'm going to scale. Be my solution, be ranaban be there. And so in most cases, example of a gamba, money transfer gam always. If na con population solution lo addressed by money transfer putting the population you're getting into invest because actually scalable in reality. The market is too small, can't it? But actually right. Ale biran the local philosophy dia che kedu ni lo cholde. My point is not all about you scale you scale, anko about you survive. And then kill the thing can you. But if you're an entrepreneur, kaki corner de whatever thing I'm going to do today, I'm going to scale it in the long run. With scalability, there millions of people because in most cases you don't solve problem idea. It is a problem when we go solution go run but go there. And so it can tau into picture that in every idea tau thing you must pass as is it scalable because the token is scalability. You know, mostly in country like South and Channel in quite we I expand, but when you ask them, they will tell you they're scaling. We're not anong business ko le baka loy ne kuna ale dirmia kinchi lu scale chana nong to in a traditional setting most of the business model is on ko lu scale like den cho brick and mortar which is a physical store kanti and anong dukan juba ke dukan ay ka baka diti but question is jalti baka diti jede kanti abaka diti by building one in board one in juba ko you color and you expanding you're not scaling chana nong to in scaling. Scaling a corner in attachment of Canada. How do you have product in Canada, but it can reach across the world without having a store anywhere? Which is the most hardest thing. The more you keep on building a store, that is a single thing where Kawaj, because Kawaj will scale without expanding. I mean, expanding the physical store. And our models I can use a Changerman with a franchise model. You'll buy Starbucks human anyway, but it doesn't mean you won't the same thing also in vacation mark some other products kok chaga yuti chinga yuti and then the same thing also let's say this way at the end of the day la do tok cheta ne channel wealth you have to choose because when we are talking about entrepreneurship in my mind I'm always talking about uh, including or maybe changing building things which are really sustainable, right? When I talk sustainable, it's not that this generation, it's something that is only contributing to generation where you are. We are talking about our children. We are talking about living system to other people. And that if we have that system, that kind of thinking to government, while into business, knowing that we are going to build this one into long term, okay, for a long term. And a lot thing, okay, most of the business, a lot in man putting cash flow, kayok na again, run, and non chirun get the question break even, is making loss, but it's not getting out of business. Young Chenijal, because it's building this one long term. Wait on me, it's not about that. Anong daman ben la break even. Ku kanang kiro loy na ta mindset kita na jan loyal ten kulel. I'm not building a scalable business. Kidi en loy build but eba loy survive. Anything working them kunachila you kanda la ka. Kenting because in most cases, most of the other coach entrepreneurs are always well kanang this spirit of gratification, right? Gratification korana but we all want to be fulfilled. But there's a problem. Most of us are now culture of instant gratification. You need to be fulfilled at the moment. You want to put money into business and get the quick return. Kweben from mindset because kidu ni able to survive. Na achi da able to survive. Then why are you in business? But I'm not get with every entrepreneur. I love thinking I'm building a culture of delayed gratification. It's not about now. It is about next 20, 50, or 30 years later. Because philosophy, you are changing certain things. You're changing a dynamic. When you don't have to study entrepreneur to be an entrepreneur. You can study computer. Let's take an example on computer queen. But certain technology it is a mindset core because you are going to solve a problem. But that problem build business around it. Whatever coach went to you're going to be a medical doctor. And then you will see the problem within a field and build business around it. Key jari a building business around or system around them. And get eating because mindset entrepreneurship. But by then a core time to commercial package. So it can that not all ideas are scalable. Whenever we learn into create a thing, see whether that idea by scale. Can most of kaju yega rajma dukan actually scalable. Example man you turn. Alle but define a problem, but it's scalable. Why? Because it takes it will reach people anywhere in the world without yin value locate to those places. Can cause you man die but are in different places. So in that is scalable. But let's take an example of Corona. Banong is store everywhere across the world. Because even when you don't have to do office everywhere. You just have to say, how do I reach everyone? Getting those services. But now, can we store, but you are going to increase the cost margin. And if you increase the cost margin, you're expanding. You're no longer. Whenever cost margin to kuluro double each of every time you are not scaling. There's another thing they are scaling by explain as well. About when you are scaling in core functions, in core people, in core process, in core technology. But my interest are within people. When you are saying you are increasing function, because when I'm trader, I'm building business on myself. And I like you the business at all. But that's not what we want. We are saying, how do we build systems on others? Which means Nakar build on system on others in can even have a lot of functions. But that's whereby a lot of people are evaluated. Now, the reason why Chinkoiga Loeba is in trading, in hustling, and in Kaduanichal tendership, and those businesses, their philosophy is survival. It has nothing to do with the long term. But one of the philosophy is scalability. You can't scale when you are the only one in the business. No, you must also bring other people. Which means, let's take an example. Functions 25. That function 25 will 500 people. But can you so now around so then you wonder yung chen lolo ito. The question of it, are we building scalable businesses? Because that's where buying it and that's the mindset I want from you. Now lotin. What kind of business do you build? Your growth business. Kaya could do your normal case survival. When you can philosophy philosophy do you get a land last week, which is intellectual capital. Why are you building the business? Can you define in business? Now, going to business today, the challenges are but keep in the game a why reason. Because I may see something chira and cheating. Chana no get to entrepreneurship, a lonely journey. Who in most cases, a group can think. And a lot challenges like a banner, canon key, like keep chapel business. Because no get it's not matter bala you. It is matter gi lo anong ki ngen ku ken ma kumba chi bin you for the first time, but you come back with the pin it's a word, then you go back ki do chin ka kan ya lo ka philosophy ana chat philosophy jadi fine if ginchi do jalti in bala lu succeed le 25 years later, 10 years later, depend the chin la kada. Second thing about building is kind of business models because I don't get up. If I'm doing trading, if I'm doing tendership, ukong gig lo ke ban ke talk. Uh, because I don't get you learn about opportunities. Opportunities is not about just needs, right? You could look at the can innovation in most cases improving kita winter. Kada ale better man ke loy, but I realize now that along there's something wrong with it, and accord improvement can be. And so, catch value addition thinking and innovation, because when you have that mindset of always saying, let me keep some, let's improve this one. Can buy it him and with our resources. One a lot of resources to buy, but clearly about the value addition thinking. Value addition means how do we add value to it? Example, actual gamma tau. Yang achiro kon teach how do we make tau as a global product? But how do you do it? You have to add value to it, can't you? Because kita man achieve well, achieve well already. But if you know how to add value to it, you can correct well be ran there below can inchi value there no. Another opportunity deal why chief in the business model. Because most of business models are wrong. Why I always gamma example I game education. Now can education system term and business model fail completely because we are repeating education system chinka where no. But I ran an opportunity at a business model wrong. So the biggest question is uh, business model now buy into this education system then can work. So these are some of the opportunities we explore in terms of the product innovation innovate your process innovation can think do your business model innovation can think. And so car but there we are who unbelong into those capital never and then I also address challenges because challenges are tough, but there's a way we can navigate. Take an example of funding then there one term and yeah we corbe you can engaging to from my experience kwale baka konyare because you may have an idea but na chinte you in funding of course then although chita na channel work na che funding ke ketuen enare ke yen yung ikolo kenti and one of it ketio chika na jalo market kachi market capital ne check kuna kujala social capital kenti. And let me start social capital. Social capital is one of the problems nowadays kenti. And when we talk about social capital, to branding, kujala networking, kenti. But let me leave branding. Let me talk about social capital. Chaba Golule in social capital. The greatest skill in entrepreneurships, art of selling. And I really do encourage Nadagi and Brand Benong that is skill of selling. Kenti. Purchase selling product. There's something that cover from my experience. And again, selling encourage. If Nachin art of selling, can networking about because the problem with us South Sudanese nowadays, networking is a problem because networking is going to conferences, seminars, without sundu, and then take pictures, I like about post on Facebook. Will actually connect with Mr. X and Y. Let's be honest. Ko actually connect because you know chi kenting. When you learn man in most cases man no problem by to know a certain person for you to connect. But that's not how was achieved the other part. Of course, I agree. In South Sudan, you have to know someone for you to connect. But the really networking, about value. People connect because you have value for them, or either value for them. But if I have value, but they aren't, then I won't connect with them because in the you around. Always selling. The moment we need to you're selling your value. Most people have to sell themselves. Akira Concord, you have to first invest in yourself before because in most cases, in jam, but you don't know about and channel what specifics based on kitchen you. And so let's take an example. I'm quite on Facebook. In reality, I'm selling myself. Tomorrow, I'll look young perceive, but it is what in your cake. And so, really, networking do it. First, add value to yourself. And Akor Bajalo, there's nothing wrong by into conference, by into seminars. But question is, iti injalo into those conferences and the rest, yeah, idea mango. ye kemangoto yija ler bin jala lu connect work, because at the end of the day is about young loy, and whatever thing loy abira ne okay they could do loy acha niar, or either could do loy, we can work together with it, kenti. So in most cases ideas pinya che war ba ideas to kan inche loy to ku lo ka to ku lo ken ka chata no, if not teach question ko audience ata to ku lo tueran pidek de, I'm sure achiran lebe to, because in kena ready chana no kicha lo ne idea con transform from no a good back by into reality or into writing, kenti. And some of the simplest way man rock on core if nanong idea num do can transform into writing. It could be a proposal take to the NGO, kenti, or if na social enterprises, and then you write kichi pitch deck, kenti. Now Nigeria into conferences can you connect with, and I'll this is the project I'm working on, and then people that are not interested or working on the similar area can use connect with it. Chitana channel is about value. If not, they won't connect with you, can you? And so I can accord before thinking of connecting, before thinking of networking, first a value within us, and kujolaki also and another thing with the that thing branding, right? The biggest misconception as well is that brand visibility is the only branding though. There are different types of branding. I agree. I really address the way Yinchang. But at some point as well, it could be a short term. In the bad the Mayaman on Chinchang thing. But a lot of level like a different thing. Can you? And so hmm?
Alo ako natin mo ito kakanyakan.
Kajakat, can you?
Change.
And so social capital key record intending core brand credibility, kujala brand authenticity. You have to be who you are. You don't have to borrow well by around. In most cases, we want to humanate koiko, but kira kor chitawa channel yinga. Chan authenticity, we are in a society whereby uniqueness ay ko yika. And achara you in a certain way, when you turn group it, but no, a core barakon nyawal, bakona yourself. Because I don't agree, remind the way who you are. No, be the true version of yourself, because there's a version, the real best version to best version ka ko na cha jan yel chiti chulo from self awareness, and then injal belo kan yin nga kenti. Second, brand credibility, whatever thing yilo, because in most cases we could preach it, but loy is where the biggest factor in. And so brand credibility and brand authenticity are important. And I will call social capital. These are the things you have to work on, because in most cases branding is visibility, but how we dress. No, but you have to work on yourself, because reputation, respect, even through credibility. Respect around when that you are not doer. Okay, Iran yellow can do. And so these are the things to kun ga kan ya lwel ka ku check to then ka arts of communication, because brand communication important. Brand communication have been through selling chanan ko we are any riaden any kilo ke, but how to communicate it to others a problem. The real art of selling is selling your value. Those who know how to sell their value ideally connect with other people. But if you don't know how to sell who you are, and then no one is going to connect with you. And so ekana chan bit lui dual tinarit o ku ken ka le buting ne ka le bi ko bi kada tin before kenin yak thinking with the most important thing a corporan by idea they become translate into reality, but how we to kachi pitch decks kachi yak do a business plan or through models and chagalwel kenti, especially look at the scalability, your business model, you work your value proposition, you could be value chain, because in most cases then a channel wealth when you are talking build a scalable business, you have to control everything. Good part of the problem and enough by if you look at the prices. Okay, prices check it in by man watching koi can produce that are controlling the whole value chain. Chana low value chain, low control get easy become lapin. You can reduce it at any time because everything are within your control. But part of the problem is why rely you not what other people what in other people value chain. Because not get a good business model. And chitane channel wealth and bear if you want to easily know the time business model like a commercial model. Commercial model na de yen you can you guide whether take an example if na you biscuit guide £2 or maybe you could do whatever a $2 can think a commercial again. But when we are talking about business model is you could do labor produce with it, you could do labor distribute with it, you could do labor bajal bagaj with it can think. And in most cases, people confuse business model with your commercial model. Correct? Yeah, commercial model. But ke ana ka kelele biranda na le nyukele ulele kana idea ni bet in ke ya problem. Most of the people are ideas, but I think commercial package, because commercial package in get it really entrepreneurship thing. But you have to put all your ideas into that commercial into this commercial model. The last one are challenges, Kubakoj. I think I know a lot of challenges. One of the challenges is access to the right information, because most of the people are investing in themselves, which is intellectual capital. In most cases, you can't talk about entrepreneurship before before can before can invest in yourself. We call it education, right? And if I talk about education, I'm about schooling, because schooling education are what, and I keep on always saying it's different to be certificated to be educated. Most of us are certificated. You went to school in a lot of papers, check accumulate, and you're not going to be an entrepreneur because in the certificate. Yes, there's nothing wrong. I choose a but the real entrepreneurship, they hang at about self-education. Self-education can go with your personal growth and development can intellect, because now bad great problem solver, get within your thinking. But I develop around because I'm not to kuleka your knowledge or when boka your knowledge, but wisdom is you through thinking. Because let's take an example. If na chai tak through kichi yenen, then you never get wisdom. In most cases, and I will go into entrepreneurship, ke di benefit a process, because anang to loni lo yin ke do ne very plekele through wisdom cha use ku jala knowledge cha use kan ti in most cases ke kor ko jarete di a process lo ne luin ke agut ke tiran man ku le ke do ne lo yude, then they asking the process because nang to cha kor most times we are results oriented agut ki tinga ne lo ku ko jala into bound wagon effect. Most of people is all about nghe area chi go o nghe lo ke den ko peer pet. No, those are results, but the question is process lo wude ko process nge to real knowledge and real wisdom kwen ke ki ko benefit. So in most cases ke ke da sustain a knowledge ku jala wisdom chahiye, but I you through education. If you are not investing in yourself before thinking about entrepreneur, okay, you know, first can invest but on war but not shift in mindset, because I think shift in mindset ka chin kilo I think iran. The second one is funding. Painting. Yes, I did in a year. And then where do I get money? Painting. And there are a lot of ways of funding nowadays. And the easiest way is traditional was bootstrapping, which is use your own money. Painting. Or from relatives. Painting. But maybe nowadays are rich because I can work to catch it. Painting. The second one is through debt and equity, which is Niranaba. But I'm not going to achiran le bi yin wo inchi la bala to the bangaman with ka gudu concept ku yin wo achirala, because kai ga fan mostly our company will scale kunchi in a collateral, let's say in a credit work, and I think do kan okay, we can give you the money chan we bala do chen equity achin venture capitalist le bi ja yin wo, or maybe angel investor can think concept about unless iran when you can think. But we are lucky. We're in the world whereby funding rawar and the developmental funds development. The biggest mistake you can do another again, these developmental funds you can non-profit organization can do. No, the reality is actually a non-profit organization can pay. And these developmental funds are getting grants in it. Also money from fellowships can do. We have some other program, but let's say grants in general. But I have free money. The reality is I have free money. Okay, challenge is use space is how do you assess them? Because assessing them get a top problem. Because from my experience, you can't take idea doing a trading or doing a tendership or doing hustling and then you get money through them. That's where the problem comes in. Because I can gum through certain area. Anong 17 SDGs chika baby. And one part actually learn entrepreneurship. But when we talked about social entrepreneurship, okay, tie around through 17 SDGs. So when you are thinking, you could do whatever cost you win, you can value think around those 17 SDGs because their problems are confined into 17 SDGs. And so when you are thinking, okay, you could do it within poverty, you could do it within education, you could do it within health, your climatic change, or maybe it's sustainable consumption. And so now when you have an idea, you can go and your process design thinking and the rest. The problem you're going to solve within that society at within 17 SDGs. So whenever you're going to apply for those funds, you'll apply for those funds knowing that you're solving one of those problems. But the question is, account knowledge itself, because I can with application today Kachi repeat that is one of the most important. Let's take an example. I don't support NGO because their models are just sustainable. I'm not saying I'll be anywhere around law, but my problem with it is I emergency solution I guess for emergency funds like their business model really depends on donation. But what if they stop giving money? Then you have we are talking about future, the kind of sustainable kind of business. And so social enterprises are around with a so long as you come up with another problem with those areas, it doesn't matter it cause in the queen. So long as it's genuine problems, can think solve. Now, and then how could you into pitch decks? Another skill you have to write a pitch deck you go with it because there's a general process. Yeah, garden. Then you just submit it. There's something also, if business plan correct, then you also write a business plan. There's something also proposal correct. But it is really challenging to raise money with just concept notes because in most cases I could track records. And so now you run here and then you can start because you can start, but there's a stage there will scale. And when you live in your mind, then you are not entrepreneurship. Most of the money I can come to a company that are scaling. Can think. And so now Chagol Queen Jal went to a point whereby I want to scale now. Can think. Ankor ba kidi jal grow to really business the core. Chan kitoke starting a chain career. The most difficult thing in them. I want to scale need to begin scale. Panangiro loy. A chin will be record when you're starting. In most cases. Ale be but the reality is when record when you are scaling gakaret chan ke jalo man in really business a jabil kenti then alwele ni our people have to channel their minds into building scalable businesses. We are intentional about Kaloiku. And the biggest problem in South Sudan is watching that mindset. What system or what channel in a way whereby it's all about work. It's about us. It's about Balu survive. Naturally, or Chagate the ruler survive. But mindset called Bunyai, we have to be part of the world contribute. Look at Africa. I was doing research recently. Well, the whole continent is just contributing 3% to the world GDP. Just the whole continent, Penti. And that really tell us now that what you're productive. Most of the things are you consume maybe within the continent. Watch it outside. And so in most cases I advise as long as we are starting local, always have a global vision, because Pinchela Tiniman is not just about being something we are relevant to South Sudan. It's all about and I'll let you scale me a couple to the other part of the world. Judgment. It might start in South Sudan, but I'll buy you get a country. But of course, mindset ka core because it's a easy thing. You don't wake up the next morning, kuloiran kenti. So these are the ways liberality where the funding challenges they can navigate, and a lot of people should first equip themselves. Actually, a lot of smartness and skills as well, kenti. But care upon core investment in oneself because intellectual capital emphasize it. So you have to be correct.
No, thank you. Thank you. Can you even into what baby and great ideas. Now you ten, you girl with but we're now going global. Two girl with South Sudanese girl with Dinka, we speak in Dinka language sometimes, but now, we even learn Chinese. We're gonna capture. There has to be a global U-turn. If you are
So,
not inspired by this conversation, I don't know what will inspire you again. But this is really thought provoking, mind boggling ideas that are being shared by brilliant, brilliant minds that have traveled the whole world to see different way of doing things. And they are bringing it back to our communities and sharing this knowledge for free. This knowledge here, you are right. People go to big conferences, they pay like $1,000 to get this information. People pay like how many like 50,000, 100,000 to go to school to acquire this knowledge, but now U10 is coming and giving you for free, Ajamana. You should clap your hand to do that, and you should share this information and show the support. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our page, and give us suggestion for more. We gonna go to 2025 with really focus on changing our mindset and being entrepreneurial. So and to do that, your social capital is very, very great skill. Jordan spoke a lot about like human capital, personal development, credibility, like building yourself first, because you get the first brand. And I think Kurula build culture around you. And that is where the growth, begin. It begins with you and then around you, and then now you're to capture the whole world. So Kurupita Chapin is deep, so take it away. I usually end the show in 90 minutes, but this one will go to more than that. And deep it.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. I think you have covered most. What I will just be putting on is just like trying to, some kind of backup and uh, reiterate on some of the points. And when we talked about, I think you touched around social capital and let me say personal branding. Right, I think that's one of the most important things that you need to consider. And when you are going to conferences, let me take example. Rwanda is one of the countries that hosts a lot of conferences, a lot um, of events, international events. Let me say that. And so when sometime when you see, I can see some of the young people, let me say South Sudanese, they attend those events, and you just go there, you dress well, and you don't show up, right? One of the most important thing, what I mean about showing up, is that yeah, you are there, but how can we know that you are there, right? Is really important, right? But before putting into that, um, I told you, well, in Chinyacheng, Sundu Jatao, Mariapet, Aloko Damrat, Lolan Tikana Jatan. Did you contribute something? That's the first thing I would, right? Before going there, were you like, are you knowledgeable about what is going to be discussed in that conference, right? And I think that's the most important thing. So, quick on top, before Baitoglio, it is important for you to be seen as someone who has something, right? Ano ba chang batom chang kimani Elon Musk doesn't care about anything anymore. He has everything. He can dress any way he wants. But if he's meeting with the investors, he dress appropriately, right? If he's meeting with someone who can give back to them, he dress appropriately. So the first thing, which is in personal branding, you brand yourself, right? Launching yam to thero, launching yam to loy, what chanke, tanglun chanka, is really important. Secondly, you don't have to attend event and you don't say something. And you don't have to say something when you don't need to say something, right? Which is really important. And that's where the parts of showing up comes in. Before you go to any conference, right, you need to really prepare yourself. Be knowledgeable about the topic of the conference. Have something that you should contribute to the conference, the participant who are attending it, and so that you can be seen. And that means you are showing up. You want people to see you that I'm here and I can add something into this conversation. I can add something into this. It's really important. So don't just dress well and go to the conference without having something in mind that you can contribute to that. Don't attend that conference instead. Before going there, you also have to define what do I need there, all right? Don't waste your time. Time is really important. Like, what do I need there? Is it people? Like networking? Yeah, good. Networking. If it is networking is kind of different, by the way. There is networking where I should just know you, which is good, but there's networking that is more than that, right? I get to introduce myself to someone. For example, I come and introduce myself to Joel. Hey, I'm Kurupita, blah, 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 and all those things. I'm a student from here and this. And you stop from there. I think there's no way, and I ask you for a business card. How can you give me your business card even if you have it, right? Because there is nothing that you can offer. I can offer to you that I'll clearly define to you, and that's why I say that whenever you want to approach someone, right, in the conference, always have something in mind. When you have seen them, like especially the speakers, right, the panelists, you need to really approach them, and someone who really admire you, introduce yourself in a most short way, right, and something that is more interesting to them. And if there's someone that you really need to invest in your business, you need to have what we call elevator pitch, right? Elevator pitch is really important, right? So 1 minute, only 60 seconds, you have a chance to meet with Elon Musk, What are you going to ask him, right? So, and that's why kuna non business idea or there is a business that you are running, always have your elevator pitch. Elevator pitch can open eyes for them in order for you to say, oh, this is really interesting. This kid is good. So, so this kid is good. How? Okay, let me have your number or have my business card so that you can get back to me later, right? That's the power of elevator pitch, and that's where they will ask you for your business model, project proposal, and all those stuff. But if you don't have an elevator pitch, there's no way. So it is really important, Chanagora Bill. That's where that education is different from schooling, right? So education come from all like educating yourself. How do I want people like to perceive me? What do I want to convey to people? And which kind of people that I should network with? And such kind of network can really help you a lot in order for you to be able like to succeed in what we are doing. And if I'm walking into some kind of sector, there's a lot of people that help me a lot so that I can get into something, right? And we receive some kind of books from Book for Africa in the USA, and it is through networking. And I think, and that's the most important thing. When someone has seen that you are doing something, this is where they can be able like to add value into what they are doing, right? So always treat your network well. Always define your network. It's not everyone that when you attend a conference or at a school, you just need to collect their numbers and business card. That's not important. So I think personal branding is really important to business. So if I'm a CEO or founder of any business, I have to really brand myself in a way that is really appropriate. And when I reach out to someone, they will definitely know that this kid is good, right? And they could be able like to support me in that kind of point, right? It is important. Yeah. Let me go to the point of like scalability and sustainability. Cholin create bena chaja forgotten. Kwanang kichal that you said a lot of people they often long if they are making money, a lot of money, they'll forget of what they are doing and they go and marry a lot of wives, building good houses, and all that stuff, right? Forgetting the purpose of it. Honestly, to tell you, those people don't have a purpose of what they are trying to do, right? It's just surviving. But there are some people who will live around a call, right? What is my call? Some people will go and find their call in what they are doing and then work on it. So, and if you open a business can generate a lot of money, and that can really completely confuse you. Right? You will think you are making a lot of money, but honestly, you did not see some kind of unforeseen circumstances that might come your way, right? And also, like there are a lot of expenses that you might not see, and that's where like if you are making a lot of money, you need to be also serious. Why am I making a lot of money, and how can I really make sure that I take advantage of this opportunity, which is this market that is boosting a lot, giving me a lot of money. How can I take chances there and tap in, right? And try to open different ways for your business. And in terms of scalability, there are some people when they think I want to open one market here, shop here in Chirakat, another one in Konyo, another one in Budele, Muniki. That's not scalability, right? Scalability first make sure that it is sustainable because is it making more money? That if I open another shop, nang to leban who buy baby chana go ko yala dom ko to the whatever the other shop, the other branch. So it's not about opening a lot of branches, but first understand what is sustainability. That's why they go two way, right? There will be no scalability without sustainability. So all those two goes the same way, right? And you need to make sure that it is scalable and it is sustainable, right? So Ogonalia can within Juba, they are paying their staff, they are paying all the expenses, and there's something that I'm getting at the end of the day. I'm not getting the money from the other shop to go and pay or go and cut off for the expenses of the other shop. So just know your like those two words. So there is a difference. So opening a lot of branches doesn't mean you make a lot of money. First, develop that branch with Iran mobile money. Make sure that that branch is strong and is really sustainable, and go and open another branch when all things are good. And that's what we call a global vision. Like sustainability and scalability is equal to global vision. So you are having opportunities for you to tap into the other markets in other countries, in other regions of the country as well. Right. So that's really, really important. There is another key in terms of non question within he asked about how can I really how can I there's a question, yeah. Like how can we create a better social economy that is rooted in love? All right. That's simple because something that is rooted in love, it means you need to really encourage what we so called like collaboration, which is really important. So you what we call inclusive system. So where you need to bring in the users, all the stakeholders on board, while you are trying to create the solution. So try to identify the problem first, so that you could be able to be part of that social economy that is equitable to everyone, and which is and also cultivate a culture of empathy. You need to empathize with the users so that you can really understand. Because if you don't connect with them emotionally, you will not understand what they are going through, and you could not be able to provide the solution that you will be able to provide. And that's where the collaboration comes in. When you empathize with them, you work with them hand in hand, so that you could be able to provide that kind of solution, right? Also, what we call social innovation, right? So it is really important for us to understand the aspect of our community, right? Before also tapping into what we call creating some kind of sustainable economy in our community, something that is in love. So you need to really be aware of the environment, and in terms of how can my products affect the environment, how can it really affect the people as well, and also the economy, right? So it is really important, and also lead with ethical guidance, right? Have some kind of ethics, right? Try to also understand what are the guidelines that have been but that have been put down by the government. And also if you are a believer, there is something that you need to also consider, right? Affected in another way. So really important in that kind. Also encourage personal responsibility, right? You have to be responsible in everyone, your team, the operation that is going on, and also the product that you guys are delivering, right? So you need to be also keen in that. And if you open 10 of different enterprises, you have the responsibility to take care of all those things and see how is this really affecting the community negatively or effectively, and also have the power to control how everything operates in the system. So it's really important, right? So, and yeah, I think coming to, I think I'm good in that. There is another point you told earlier. For us most of us, the focus on NGOs, right? And most of the NGOs are not sustainable, and they get their money through donations. But that's not something that I can really encourage a lot of young people into, because NGOs, they don't really build. Sorry, I think network NGOs build the community. I mean, they build the mindset. For example, ours, we focus on building young people, letting them access the resources. But how are they really going to make good use of those resources? Like training them on entrepreneurial aspect, giving them the resources, access to the internet, access to books, right? So yeah, that's really great, right? But I don't have to also tell them that study your NGO. That's not the aspect. I have to also tell them, okay, what is the problem when you are running entrepreneurial leadership, right? So, for example, you just say that, okay, I want to open an NGO that is treating children, helping children in this and that. That's okay. But now in our society, it's not just about NGO. We need some kind of sustainable ventures that could be able to provide solutions and also creating jobs for our community, right? In South Sudan, there is 18.3% of youth that are employed, which is the bigger whatever, bigger number that we need to really work hard so that we could be able to create more jobs. So we don't need NGOs don't create more jobs, all right? But we need sustainable ventures that could be able to address some local challenges that address all these things, and that's the most important thing. Right? Coming to the challenges when you are affected, most of us. One of the things that they are in and Kuru is what we call funding. Right? A lot of young people they fail to start their businesses in terms of funding, but that's not the point. The point comes from the philosophy, as Chola said it. Okay, here's the concept. I have this concept. How can I bring it to the market? Right? There's a bigger whatever. There's a bigger way you could be able to bring this into the market. You don't need to really have $1,000. You don't need to really have someone who can really help you in that, like your family money or whatever. But how can go business because that's not the point. Right? So the first thing you have to have a team. Right? Without a team. And that's the most important thing. You need to really have a team that can help you because the team bring different resources on board. But also when you're choosing a team, it is important to really bring people on board, those who have different skill set, right? Let me say I'm good at marketing. It's the person that I'm supposed to bring is someone who is really good at partnership, someone who's really good at designing the pitch decks, right? Someone who's really good at the operations, right? And someone who is good at leading the team, right, in a good way. So it's really important for you to really have a team. There is no way you can lead by yourself. You need a team that you share your vision with the people, those people who could be able to help you so that you could be able to achieve that vision. And in that process, when you're having that team, you need to build a team, right? Because when you are not there, the team can work on your behalf. Every decision that the team is making is because of what philosophy you have installed in, right? The vision that you have shared with them. So there is no way you can achieve your vision when you don't have a team. And so when you have this team with different skill sets, these are where the investors invest in. And even the grant, those who give grants, they invest in such kind of, when you have that strong team with different skill sets, with a clear vision and a coordinated work, I think that's where the investors could be able to take their money in. So because when you have a clear problem and a solution statement that is addressing the need and having a proper product and having a strong team, I think they could be able to invest in you. So that's really important. All right. So before you go and look for funding, do you have a team? Do you have a clear problem that you're trying to address? Right? Is your solution something really that can be able to be scaled, that is sustainable? Right? How are you going to make money? So all these things that come into aspect when you have a strong team. Because when you don't have a strong team, you cannot have it. Because and until I lead alone, because I don't know level but how lakin kiting yin tok a chinyi alubini kichin tok ting alubinin karoting. Right? And so and also they say that one hand cannot clap but two hands does. And so you cannot clap your hand, right, alone. Yeah, I know you have two hands, but you need another hand, right? Because what I cannot see, Joel can see it, Paul can see it, and some of you guys in the chat can see it when you are in the one team. And so it is really important for us to acknowledge that. And yeah, so when you have a strong team, people could be able to invest in you. The second thing is what we call like, how do I share my value to other people so that they can. Every person buy a value. If even if it is $1 billion, it will cost them $1 billion. They will buy it. When there is value in it, you will never question anything around the prices when there is value, right? When it is addressing certain needs for them, right? So, for example, people will buy it, right? Because there is value in that. Right? So I think, and I think it is really important for us when you are offering something, you need to have a value. So you don't have to go and tell someone that I'm opening a business. Go to your uncle that I'm opening a business. This business will do this. What is the value, right? So it's really important in that kind of area. And networking, right? Sometimes we tend to forget what we call network, right? So we need to really tap in there. For example, if my friend is really good in business consultant, right? Someone that I've connected with, I take advantage of that, right? I say that I want to start this business, and I'm really confused on where to go, and I'm really confused on where to start, how to get the money. Can you help me on that? Right? If it is about I'm applying for some kind of grant, and I don't know how to do proposal like grant proposal, how to write the budgeting. If there's a network in my network, if I have a specific person that is really skilled in that, I reach out to them, and that's how you take advantage of your network. And so it doesn't also like you don't only take, but you also give. It doesn't mean that you always you all have to reach out to your network and seek for help. You also have to offer something to them. So be always ready in that. And that's mean in the field that you are in, make sure that you are skillful. So when they ask you for something, be always open to give them something, right? So that's what I can say on that part. So and we need to really. I'm just saying them, but I'm also like trying to put some kind of like provide my solutions and all those things. So, but I think that's how I can put it in that way. So not we shouldn't be always like involved much ourselves in NGOs. Let's try to think sustainably, like in a more way. So that's what I can say on that. But yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Kur. And I just like that part. And I want people, if you are watching here, Google a book called Give and Take. Give and take. If you want to, part of being valuable and attracting good people in your life, it's not always taking, it's about also giving. And there is this mindset that can jamwar about kada mindset. Achalwela rate. Kada mindset. Kada is about taking. Kada chol deng ti ke dia nyan pele. Kada kuru vita ti yen ke dia. But you are not giving value. So that mindset I could be doing 2024 and years chill out. But we are going 2025 with give and take. Add something to yourself, something of valuable knowledge to yourself, self-education. I children, I emphasize self-awareness. No, what I think that you need as a person. Get your human capital, invest in yourself. And then use that and get value to that you can share with others. Yeah, and when you have that, you share time, you share energy, you share resources, you share ideas with people. People also give to you, and in the value grow in the kitab they'll marry. We're caught on there, and I want to also acknowledge that the U10 platform too often it's because of people around us. There are people who support have been running this system, and we will come back to thank them. See, this system or this studio was sponsored by people, and it's the social capital, it's the value that we offer to our community. Go to support, but so there are two questions for you, Solomon Jalang. Thank you so much for your two questions. There are two questions going to Cholde. Bakek answer, and there is one question from Ruben Pancho that is also going to all of you. And I know time course, so maybe I fast because of Guru 2 hours. I want to be respectful of your time at Christmas time, and I want you back long rest and connect with your families. But Chol, you need to by Brother Solomon, uh, from your experience, and what advice would you give to someone who is willing to venture into social enterprise, like agribusiness, for example, but often face challenges of securing investments because of South Sudan, risk South Sudan because of its security, right? Especially even when I tried something in the past, I wanted to solve problem wrestling to develop a technology, technology background, IT, to create a system when work attract. The deal goal also Sudan is risky, they don't want to invest in it. So that is a challenge with people that have ideas, but the environment is cannot allow them to venture there. One question. Another question, but did Bagajala answer all of them is number two is prototype. They look actually we work, right? Prototype, you can have a prototype, but it may be good in design, but in real in real life it may not be effective. How would you advise someone to build a prototype that sells? So that is the question. Bajara Martin about money part of things. And then the question from Ruben Pancho Nachinambula Mar is, what is your advice to cattle keepers to make you turn to benefit as an entrepreneur? Because I believe a the nation great wealth the nation are installing the cattle. So it's like, okay, very good question. How can we convert our assets, which are cattle, to now a sustainable future in entrepreneurship? That is another question which Kuru will update go. And Bajara Martin, your U-turn message so that Buku go watch the blog out. So take away children.
Hey, and we are very quick. I think about Gole, even a car with the air about prototype, but then a question of the but environment risky as well. Indeed. About well, from my opinion, ran a perspective they can think. And of course, funding a perspective, a reality. Which I will the biggest problem, look at pace, ache financial capital. Chan Kana Lwelwe Anjeta in this space for nearly 2 years, Kenti. And part of the reason time you turn and every round every year again, your problem ache chan most of the people are no ideas can you and they think chan funding ache gam ka toinam. You con la ba con jal nyo round ka be ni kanang value can ten with jal be baby kenti. But key jari er ke chirane ti. How do we turn it abia bala bo biranda be gam kenti. Now, I think man social enterprises, mostly man get the level big because most of the people are coming up solving problems within their communities but kitchen issue is that actually knowledge in that area, you actually aware because most of the youth actually are into those platforms. I think you can share Facebook and TikTok if you have to be very honest because youth nowadays now they can watch it. Following events, could trends, could jala digital gossiping. Let me use that language and think our job. But question could be around how do I even get to those places? Because I'm jump from experience is not something I'm assuming because I've been in that space, but I've never seen South Sudanese for the last 2 years. And that's the question I've been asking. Talk you know, because the youth know as well. The issue is mindset I can channel now I'm ready to solve certain problem in my community or can a car and some of the can go to you don't have to have a full commercial package idea. Chimana kachina jiran well because idea do either banong minimum viable product kaya do your prototype but key rear anong two programs are very important accelerator and incubation programs kuka ke aka kor bika teach na again how do you use assess them because kpia then is that ake ko develop take an example na no idea kajal okay it's not be in with an idea because key important na with it is be in capacity building kenting kichir knowledge about entrepreneurship kenting be idea to be developed be also in around they could give you mentors kenting ran when because idea actually develop a culture it might even take a year developing it the way will be non idea do you call in next 3 months your perception about it will change you are living uncle there but I know quite around here continue chicken natural especially incubation that's why in a western countries cake you tell succeed achievement you can look up I know incubation programs and you could be incubated for nearly 6 months 9 months or 1 year the idea to be developed then we in a real yes there are some other incubation program that will give you money kenti jal ko dun la loy kenti the same thing also to accelerate a program they call you scale if you want to scale of course you have to enter one ko you ko also fellowship no ko you apply scholarship but I actually realize it will apply scholarship and also fellowship on those scholarship when entrepreneurship especially mastercard how many people on mastercard got but chiran chi jim lech mastercard foundation to your entrepreneurship who can one of the atoke fellowship but I quite fear just have an idea na no idea do na chitan na channel wealth because coming up career money coming out that's an idea what you design thinking korba apply within the area of SDGs and if you're coming up with problem is that I can always solve within these SDGs because I any problem when you can separate top yana local na loben idea do trading, they will never give funding to you because you get a problem congo cha kona attack within that area kenti and atane kanye idea dia pia akijali it might be knowledge kujala funding. So problem machi capital, if you could get into those network accelerator incubation program fellowships kujala other program when you get grant or other financial institution kenti, especially ekenika kor bi ko kolo ba kona invest even if you don't know how to write pitch deck business plan achene kitu enken is that con invest in yourself ala balu chana non kero lo capacity human being and in ka kona kitu because na check ben yal with an idea chan business actually succeed chan no ye great idea no eran kwanye chok ka the first place ku yong loye because in most cases ayika you chike ano great idea and it will succeed no. It's about who is. We don't even most of venture capitalists are investor. A con yinga. In most cases, I did only with a be read because the reality is a you go into confident. Chana nong kichiro is cool nowadays. Uh, I like formal education, but mediocrity at the because you at the what I call. But if now because baby man a deal be, but you realize now the key and non gaggle. Me personal, I love Google 90% Kenya even through formal education. Now, where to good surprise from primary to the university, it might took just 10% the Kenya from formal education. So, all about young intern, if the school is just contributing 10%, Kenya, where did I get 90%? 90% ke Luigi man ala Facebook. Data I watch, I live around ala Facebook, data doing way. Something to do maybe euro da wunche productive nongi kendi kurande abula kur somewhere kule ke important level e koi kanong the same MBs but different things achi kalanda at the same time. Take an example kalu la ne ki chipik jak se kalolan o ke chir kitede na la duole kanong chade. So ke chol education he ato with intentionality akor ba kon yi kor ba lo ku jalba investing to it kendi ba kan lo. So ale wel kul problem achi kan ebran ba kon investing himself. Even someone like me could help a lot of people. We take a channel, Nati Rangaman could okay, big idea do or will keke Ranga Gadalo Bella Nukubella tak channel live. Take or call you jack up to a yigati, but in reality, I can jacho any of our below. Coming to Krani, teach about long risky buy. To be very honest, in most cases, among a certain stage there in life, who you need what risky even life itself can think ache environment it even period or period risky ranaban at a man ko man believe wake up the next day can think. And so I agree that environment too risky but I no question to yati ko always by man ko loti chi juba ko lo ka count kanang few businesses to the South Sudan can think kata ke kaka foreigners ko maybe factories or maybe hotel can think. And so question you could teach kick on a doing a che we are focusing a kiberiak. It is about buy man kraja your foreigners. Most of the time when you foreigners are doing, but how come? Yep, ye yin risk doing and yira ratin ke citizen. Ku foreigner elo kule lu invest kulo igere. Because at the end of the day I understand. Anything might happen, but we don't have to predict negativity. Nana gudun kobalo kola loy because pira toya. Anything can happen, anything might not happen. Kicha ikoram and every foreigner most of the foreigners man anong ka yuchi ka loy kuna tira an ka elo ko chan that's what important entrepreneurship as well channel because entrepreneurs is not whether big crowd but of course I need challenges at but start do it chipi chiki da chila di chan na chi jala ria ka okay a part of the process of you but you don't have to stay kulo environment risky even chi chak invest in South Sudan ka other countries ko ka a lot in kala ya no different challenges apart from right environment but na ran when you way kede too risky kacha lele you don't come up with an idea just to solve problem in your community if na no idea to global community ba gaman example ranjil ko ne taki achol achol hamdi ulakaya tom jal ke odin se rule USA kenti na logo yogurt go yo ke yogurt is consume USA ache tonga ke yo taki. So he said, let me introduce Kawaria Jamitaki to USA. But I man anong kichi company, yogurt company worth billions, kenti. He's bringing it in USA, Kwetaki, kenti. So if you think actually good in South Sudan, you only pay by invest to those places because most of the countries man what foreign investors. If you go to Rwanda, you could go to other places. A key counter problem is in that area. And in any country, we can any scalability. But scalability mean a actually specific for South Sudan. I never go to South Sudan, but I never scale to other countries. Or I never go to Uganda, but let me scale it to the other places as well. So when whatever thing you even I did, which is limited to certain geography. And I did about South Sudan. It's about is it scalable? Janenge ke yani scalability is precise. Na la ben nyala le kala beyond boundaries. Kwa a numbers. If such a look idea to nyala look at the numbers. Numbers could be, let's say, in East Africa, a problem do address a problem do quite face in East Africa. Kenti ko abiki 50 million people are big affect for chanano kira value you produce a certain people are affect positively. Chan in most cases the loy which value you produce kachiran do you buy. Chan kira loy money you flow in exchange of value. If not in value, kachin flow money. And so the question is ki loy ben kunang value everywhere in the world. Never be worried about South Sudan. Is it Libaloy Panda? They think the Chingori. In most cases, yes, I encourage because South Sudan by and children we are in choice. Started from other countries. Then lastly, I don't care camping. Young
Question I
Oh,
got what what will be your U-turn advice to cattle keepers to make U-turn to benefit as an entrepreneur? Your advice to cattle keepers so that they can make a U-turn, become entrepreneurs. Because
okay.
you believe that a great wealth the nation are in the cattle.
Okay, okay. I understand. I think actually even just cattle keepers, I work quite a lot to college because I will the greatest education. Each a lot. When I lot do, Kalura and Benta Pando and a effect, Kenti. Because I don't care a lot. Now, a lot to college and you are still wearing the same shoes. I think Kichira war. Why in question that you are, why should you spend 20 to 30 years at the college just to remain the same person? When get a yuta near a goal and around because I don't care a lot. Najichol and I educated Kula Pandaman, Emma Kumbrand went by be educated. Regardless, ye cattle keeper, a cattle. When we can adult real education at a revolution human being, which is shifting in mindset. When I in Kiraloy, which are by law, band of PhD, Kabalo, no reality will still show you that I can get your rocket. So, kill around with the cattle keeper. I walk, but don't walk quite chill lagi na kichu receive chana no kita go one of the biggest businesses to akito ke anong chalo na cho value addition thinking kenti o anong korot if there's a way bu this culture bu pure in our society chan tak ye ko tak sometimes influenced by culture. Take an example what in a society whereby our mindset a mindset whereby you were teach always bu kada uh, how should we add value to kadanta chan wong manato ke kor wong about a value addition ku value addition ke wong men ko ngen anan ka ji ba betin cha yoga da ba betin ke chir cha to ka cha won to ka powder ba betin skin ka da ba betin ka do ne jol hide ale ba
Ay,
hoy
di
koy
rin
ko
war loy ku gay ku ka jwi ko.
exactly ana chi ku cha kor bu cha lo ka le koy ko lo another one most important thing to thin as well ka do chi man take an example anan koy I do judo kanti ko wet ke judo ba man is that but how do we add value in terms of packaging because anan ke lo ben packaging abach ale dynamic da le war kanti te le so ke kor ken whenever you are starting something every non industries with that ke to ke normal ke ka ben from wenti be ke transform be value add to it to something good a better product kanti but kili human is that we don't think that way a good man I think really found out ke kor biran na ti ke ta around and how do we add value to it that value dia che ko balo to kuli is all about belo le ken ku dit ku ka jal piawol ken ku diet ole ka jal piawol but abelu lane no rande la bana na le ko do le ko kon be a che bu gatia na lo ko le man ku lo ko le ku ya ko ku bu ken alo piawol ka bi ke dan ole ku lo ke don discuss ken and they will learn everything from them okay I mean no rambe la ken so e ken ka le ba diet we ya ku the last message I think chike chalo na my last message na de ke to be very honest uh, nations are built by resources. I built by brains, Kenti. And the biggest problem jangen ena de gayen we talked about resources every time, but I've never seen any single country to build by just resources. It is that if we don't invest in brain, and then kachin kawarot, they kill human the intellectual deficit. In most cases, our thinking ka kor birawar birachip, we realize na de yen ka kwan ke bi lui transform a ben ke the way to you working thing. So I would say to youth na de yen, no matter what course we are studying in school, because in most cases causes you ka kwento ka ban ka obstacle and limitation human being ato ki believe random man most of course you man are causes in kwen but kara we think within our causes to ka kwen achana you ran ben afraid to think beyond it na ran well ke ran ji uh, let's say a computer che kwen career na de yen be are thinking about problem within the health sector but a your society affect key issue you don't solve problem based on chan chakwany to kuli it is about ability to do if you think about it can it the solution provide and so ko branya ke nyai ku limitation of thinking within causes you ko to kuli let's start thinking within the parameter our capabilities and that's why I emphasize on it if you know who you are can you kill about dialogue and the biggest issue is foundation nothing the baloi pinum ki cannot can understand and it can the greatest prosperity a internal prosperity there's no way that you start thinking about extrinsic prosperity ki can prosperous internally and that internal prosperity in who am I in terms of your ideas in terms of richness and values in terms of your key in the level which are causes development I'm not discouraging but the can get away and I think ran get him and co in terms of the scheme but bring it your system change thinking or ecosystem thinking, whereby what past generation, what we want, we have to change system. Chanachiranje can build. But what if now you will system is system chiranche who are the one going to build the system? Who can attack? If we don't think in terms of system change, when a lot of people, and I wish every youth man be system build. One a lot of great ideas, but the biggest problem is that actually you know platforms. But why don't we get mindset of creating those platforms? Because the core platform both idea apply, but we have to also think on how to create those platforms for ourselves. So I'm because then ko aba encourage nang ran ben na de yen entrepreneurship ke ran ba. You don't have to go to business school. You don't have to become an entrepreneur or na kwen kure a plus can think. But it's how you think can think. Develop your mindset. But an entrepreneur because in most cases anong kako check you can never be motivated by that but anong ki learn into it chika na channel either problem solving or ki work within your society can think achang ina mana ba ti manong ko you jobless every time right ko anong tong cha kor we think so much about ourselves now you run man go oh because achin loy kuna le loy yole ka dere to and then start motivating others to don't worry imbe loy by you but why don't we solve the problem? Yung children because and I tell you does not mean that again brand when below you. But if we start things changing, shifting our mindset, not again, hey, it's not just about job na chalo you, but koi ko ke kuchiklo you no be peer no. So let me think about to do because create even a goal to twenty. Can problem be solved? Achi ke le randa. A goal environment. When I listen very careful to complaints you within the environment. Now you ping up yet. In most cases you sorry like chananong ito na i ko pinga lu complain ku ke join ba lu complain ga chin problem be resolved but work on this mindset that leave blames leave excuses each time ko problem and then you start okay this is the problem when get the opportunities why well entrepreneurship when you work in an area whereby there are a lot of problems now chin problem then you have nothing to solve when you look at the South Sudan one of numerous problems but who are the ones ready to solve those problems so can I about the other way.
Wow, wow, wow. Ran ben among a chin children kajagalula when I get a note check about a bell of weight because kajagalua are very deep, very intellectually inspiring and very practical. One takeaway, Chalwell, your U-turn message that resonate with me so deep is that and whereby achieve build resources. And I agree with you. You just said earlier that Africa is only contributing 3% in global GDP. Africa ain't get the hub of resources. Phenomenally, all technology, jam work, and all I can be Africa can resource raw material to build all these Amara to work with it, I love Ben Africa. So if Africa, if by a resource, Africa will be the first world and get the model of the whole world. Africa will be leading the whole world. But because I built by brain, nom to develop, nom ni rot, nom ni to core, and get the water, and when get the walk, now you better bet you know. Go walk or be pinom go walk out Bible, chica got up an ancient civilization. Why call it a pinom, but watching a rio, no man, no better thing. That's why we are talking about U-turn, but we should be the one who are the model of the world at the moment. So thank you so much. Many people, if you have missed this conversation, go watch it jam a lot, and the key is actually about system, philosophy, self-development, and branding. Big word big alum and what ben abo ja tackle one by one. 2025 be a year of wisdom and youth and what they space so much will come could repeat our ben we jam can use jam about how to build your big deck and how to build business that is sustainable, that is scalable. And of course, when can too. So watch out and share this conversation. We are just planting the seed, and we will come back before one and a year. If you find that there's no platform, create it. Example, a U10 walk and thought and why near it while I die live shows got online got idea nyaji come and go no we need a U10. This is not where our people are consuming garbage. They are consuming like content that is not empowering, that is not inspiring. We have education, so let's come and teach our people. How many people this quality by a comedian online like I'm a comedian online because I want people to hear me. The fact is, a PA could share, so I went to school to get the knowledge, and now I'm here online to share the knowledge. That is bringing back the knowledge to community, and that is what Cholding is doing. That's what Kurupita is doing. That's what all the U10 contributors are doing. They have the education, they're coming and sharing it with you for free, and that is where the progress is. We saw the need. Our people are hungry for information that is progressive, that is future looking, and there is no platform like that is encouraging change of mindset, change of belief, change of philosophy, change of ideas, and we create U-turn. You can also create something like this in an area that identify that there is a need, or you can join us and collaborate. Through collaboration, we can make a big U-turn because I can to always progress. So wait a late, kurupita kurba U10 message dulel kuba jam one of the question anong question but did ko nya kabala Martin and what we showed our book conclude soon what jabela to with more topic based and workshops are working line up for 2025. Take it away.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I think it's been a long night and learning from each other. And what I can say is that the first thing that we should put into consideration is that we learn until we die. Right? Every minute, we learn until we die, and that's where you have to take advantage. Being attend some kind of event, this kind of course. But yeah, and which is really good. So let's look out on how we can really learn every now and then. Um, I think I attended earlier this year. I attended Rwanda National Symposium, especially on trauma. All right, and Rwanda National Trauma Symposium. And there is one thing that I learned, what we call intergenerational trauma, and this is something that we have been experiencing in this kind of post-war. South Sudan, or let me say Sudan, has been in conflict for 21 years. Again, in 2013 up to 2017, we experienced this kind of conflict. And also, let me say in my side where I came from, there's a lot of abduction, kidnapping, let me say that, cattle raiding, right? So that gives us a lot of this kind of pressure. Whatever we are thinking, we put it in a more negative way, right? I think that's what I can say on behalf of how most of our young people think. But how do we really educate ourselves to get out of that kind of circle, right? And that's really really important. I think we need to really create a space that will allow young people to observe knowledge, skills, and exposure that can give them opportunity to think positively, right? And also like trying to make good use of the platform we have. And take kind of intergenerational from Akeka Wangadeko. If I want to start business in Juba, kuna nang tong goralo, which means my business will come up. Kuna ba Lui invest in real estate in Juba, right? Kuna ku Juba lebe igwa moy ku Ria, which means I've invested. I did not really invest. I've lost. I've had a lot of losses. Let's take example of Ngadi, of Ukraine. Ukraine is a devolved country, was a devolved country. But recently, now conflicts, right? A lot of destruction has happened. But most of the people invested, right? But what is it? So, and that's what we have to take calculated risk. So that's what I can also say to Solomon Jalan is that we don't have to be afraid of investing, and that's what we call entrepreneurship, is risk taking. So you are taking risk knowing that I might fail, but how do I really bounce back when I failed, right? How do I really find a way, like exit strategy, right? How can I really exit the market when there is a lot of danger in that? And that's why you have education, and that's why I say education is really important. Some people say education is not important. I just start my business hustling and all those things, but it is really important for you to have education. And I'm not saying school, like education, in fact. So in terms of that is that we are really afraid because of this trauma, thing, that anything might happen, something bad might happen, and all these things. But that's not the way that we have to put in all these things. So we need to really address problems instead of us focusing on negativity. So let's focus on the positivity. And that's mean if all of us are focusing on how we can really address the challenges that are facing our communities, that's where like through investment, investing in most of the things that are really important. Very important again. And that's where Ken Wabulu and then the problem is when a lot of young people when work engage in activities, in businesses, in jobs. And so you will not be thinking of even joining some kind of rebellion, right? Or opposition when against the government or something that is some kind of conflict, communal conflict, and all those things. So let's engage ourselves in that, right? And a lot of people say that ngadi ajat kandiwa. Or before going there, you see pyramid were recently built, and I think even if it is other people, let me say investors, external investors or foreign investors, most of them invest in Juba. But why do we really think they haven't? Do you think they haven't seen these challenges when Kangani? And all those things. Achieve a thing, but there's a potential in the market, right? They have seen a potential in that market, and that's why they're investing in that. So the question is, have you seen a potential in the South Sudan market? And so if you have seen the potential in South Sudan market, so try to develop some kind of exit strategy if you are afraid of investing because of that. It might not happen. It might happen. We don't know. Even other countries, let me say United States, anything might happen or something might not, right? Timani natural disasters, but we don't know all those things. Why do we think always of negative part of everything that we do? So let's develop a positive mindset. In terms of prototype, Jalan, right? So when you develop a very nice prototype and it is not working, it means the solution that you are trying to address, you have not really defined it. So when you define the solution, the problem that you are trying to address, when you define it, your prototype cannot fail. But when it fails, you need to come back again and redesign it in a way that can really match the market or the need. And so that's what I can say. Coming to cattle keepers, honestly, I'm here in Rwanda, and there's a lot of, let me say, milk. Most of Rwanda I wrote it, and especially work. I'd call one check because I read it, and all these things. I wrote it. Nyange. Nyange is one of the brand here in Rwanda, in beverages, right? And Nyange is having a lot of different, let me say, retail shops for selling fresh milk, right? Kawani ka rak nong rak hockey. So let me say kawani ka rak directly, fresh one, right? Kubuku educate. So you see, there is a bigger market in that environment, and that's why in Chololwela, it is us who can convince or who can tap into that environment, livestock industry, to benefit from this. So all of us well, okay, una, I can agree with some kind of the kadi or the here. We are not supply cha, right? I will open my store here. Kunang ulako aj ma chin when cha you lowering the fresh, keep the milk fresh, right? So is another thing. Yeah, the way non-kaya dude, yogurt, right? And all those things. I think the cattle keepers are not the problem. We are the problem. But we haven't seen all those things because kuna chira kai kedi chiko kedi akila le raya wai business raya wai kalul ko what here what wala raya wai. But there is another market here, right? So that's what I can say is that we are missing a lot. But instead of us focusing on raya wai, let me say mobile money, yung en wag wood yen wag one, yen wag chak wag yen wag one, yung en wag mew yen wag one, right? And also let me say myung che myung and all those things. So aka when me are that really important. So we are the problem with the youth, and we have the opportunity um, to tap into all these things. Again, we are complaining a lot about foreigners. You little foreigners that are taking the jobs in terms of water tanks, in terms of these small chapati market businesses, but and also like some of the jobs. Let me say, core dominant already are foreigners. The foreigners from Kenya, Ethiopians, Ugandan, um, are dominant in our country. But we are not saying they shouldn't because we don't know our right. Right. So when we know our right, and that's where we'll come in and take those chances, right? So if I'm skilled in technical part, right, and I've seen a lot of most of the young people are going to vocational schools, so that we are involved in construction, right? So that's our right. So we need to step up so that we could take all these chances. I can open my chapati shop and all those things. So let's step up instead of complaining. Coming to social media, right? Achicholo now we kachang ngena ready yan ko iko kanya ko na just some kind of rubbish always post insulting someone or something that is so abusive, and that's something that is being pushed by the media, and people do not really understand the use of media. Okay, natural social media is not just social ad but just social. It's to socialize with people, network with people, but people have taken it as the platform when in kekoro lad, right? Aberan ran a little live lambelat mga ba bear ku ka blo ka blu komen blu sha jaw. So yung ko ko nyar when go karaj ye ke ben wakala lu involved instead of putting you ngin gele bo kon. And social media is being used as a weapon try to drain young people mind, to obstruct people from focusing on the right thing, right? Every morning before I go into Facebook or whatever, every morning I check my email. Right from there, I check my LinkedIn. And on the LinkedIn, I go on anong page opportunities for you. Check on those opportunities. Is there something that I'm eligible? Is this something that I can benefit from? So when I tell I'm going to go in my personal application tracker and say that, okay, this is something good. And I start working on it. Right. And that's something that I need from that platform. And that's how I can benefit from social media. Going to Facebook, go and look through what am I going to learn from there? Is it something that people have shared that is really important that I can learn? Now post chiran tao and now friend ni chol ngoragram, right? He always wrote a lot of articles. I just go there and read most of his articles, and I learned from that. Right? So we are completely different, but let's know you're more affected in terms of that. So social media, you have to understand how to use the internet. It's really important. But I have 100 MBs, Chola 100 MBs. Chola die kaka funny. And I'm going to use my own to take to my advantage. Now courses are free on internet that I can use, right, to get free certification. Learn from that. Right? On YouTube, you can learn what we call graphic design for free. You don't have to pay money, right? On YouTube. So those things we have to know how to use social media to our advantage. And that's the most important thing. So we have a lot of resources watching, but we don't know how to use it. So anything about in my from my end, but my last YouTube actual U-turn message is that I think problem can solve. Problem can solve. But the question is, how are you going to solve it differently? That's the question, right? So how am I going to solve it differently? That's the point. And then again is that solution to lower fat in Rwanda can work in South Sudan. Right? How can I really go and replicate that idea in South Sudan and work? So and that's why I say that there is nothing that has not been invented, but how can I really reinvent it in a more different way to provide something that is beneficial to society? So that's what I can say. But yeah, thank you guys. It's really a pleasure having you, and thank you, Akwal, for giving me this platform to share our perspective. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krupita. And thank you. We got a comment section. We're very encouraging. We're very inspiring. We Solomon Ejam, I wish this content is being watched by thousands of people. Quite die, pesa, you go work or die wrestling. I wish they were here. And Ruben Panchola, people change a majority. The road to hell, we got the road to heaven and narrow. And few be there. A lot of young your colleague can choose it. So we want each other around to die when this content will have to go out. This information will have been shared the same way with the same enthusiasm and intensity and wisdom to reach that one person because we believe when one person change, the whole world change. Change begin with self, and that is key takeaway from both our speakers from children from Kurupita change begin with self and while we begin with one person when one person is changed our impact huge. So thank you so much. Don't be discouraged. Nothing around to go down the U-turn. Or if you are the only one who is always here, please you are in the right space and you are the one that make us leave everything and to meet each one but because I believe in you. I see the best in you and you can change the whole world if you are feed with the right information with appropriate content that you can go and use it and impact many people. Work I problem worker who have the information and we are not using it like bugulo into cattle camp who 10 cattle camp dogo kon bang jalo ga kaka thing instead all bang look business le employment create feed so that hunger to be issue we will invest into healthcare so that the cholera can you be no chairman because this 2020 the cholera at 2020 poverty if our people really use the resources they have they will eliminate all these small problems that is still back us that can be can cover the corona 2024 but are in our country. My heart to people that have lost their families to this disease and who are still managing this sickness. It's only through entrepreneurship where we will innovate in health, innovate in business, innovate in public service, innovate in all areas of sectors that where we will solve all these problems. And entrepreneurship is at the center stage. Change, system change, or creating the new system is the way forward. We have to think big and go big. I don't know if nong tung ti be ben nyal. If not, ke shole but here. If na nong we tung ti ben because will go back. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure. I think that thinking
No, I think very well. Thanks also for giving me the platforms. I think Kaloi, of course, they could deal away than work on the bandit when get crane system change. And the club no long run abandon other again. By the way, by a chair, of course, a chair our dot creative and process continue, but Kira Kora because they intentional what we are doing continue. I always tell people, you know, the other copy of them and what about the right time, right whereby a time whereby informations are everywhere. I know Rani well data or information any oil can think what the time will come whereby because kiger pinman ideas it's no longer is no longer all these resources and the rest can think. So can alaba to everyone na nong idea do can think or nong gudun korba loy can think because creative na got a long thing how you feel good alwa entrepreneurship ran that you have a feelings of changing something within the society when ga can got chan anong kira loy your philosophy hang kat long thing so anong tina woy ko en anong karba lo le ku ken ka yijal na anong ko lo pele kin de chi la du to that foundation can think but ki ri era man chin mentorship I really agree because the system chat working a system chinwa understanding chita channel last week one thing biran ban binyiga every knowledge you consume man you know what system will design for South Sudan especially education system because the reality is what in a third world country the third world country are no problems ke chiman show problem nginti so yin ga banyi pi whatever knowledge ala lat learning land in abroad get in can you really with problems solved within your community? Now, live, then you have to sit down, be honest to yourself, and then look for that information. Because third world countries, first world countries are white, one of their own problems, one of their own approach to solution. But education, toward actually designed for that. Kate Oman is that majority of people are not get your illusion of safety net. And even me, I enter that trap. Who crash with the illusion of safety net, you think everything okay, till and anything new. But if not, baby, and you tell because get okay great ignorance a illusion create around it and then you just kuloi high five kuloi ku believe kuloi gata so ke ba wane ke nang ran ben is our a choice nang ran is either bu generational ignorance yen bu transfer to the next generation kay generational legacy so our choice is ours because whatever value we produce man it should not compromise value generation be if we have to be valid then because that's how my mind is it's not about us it's about foundation of generation kuku banachin kaloi you are going to meet ko generation of their generation ignorant ka be inherit especially if I don't do something because kada goal within your generation can think low in so can kala ba one way oh thanks for everything could you be what as well.
Thank you, and yeah, we buka ja Paul. We got the chicken we kini na tier po em nyale ken we chicken leg bang ja lo comment ni ken we kwa mi we you kur ken chol de ba ko kon ja do leg ba we chicken tie we question ko ba ke ja answer. And yeah, go there and make a U-turn. And the U-turn is to leave generational legacy, not ignorant. So go and make the change. Garangakol, I'll get in touch with you for the topic suggestion and we'll definitely bring you back to the U-turn so that you can share your ideas. Together, we will make the impact, we will make the U-turn. Nyale kenu we book a job. Bye bye.